Hey, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to another CAF update. We got lots of stuff to talk about, as we always do. I've got a busy day tomorrow. I'm actually leaving around 9 a.m. to fly back to Ohio, where it's nice, snowy, and cold. But for now, we've got plenty of stuff going on here before I head out. I've even got an email I got to prep for tomorrow. But things are moving along with OAX, and so we've got a few OAX related updates for you this evening. I've got Matt Kennedy being my guest art selector from CAF this week because Mr. Snork is he's traveling somewhere for the holidays, I believe. But yeah, so we're going to start off with Mr. Leighton, and it turns out it got so cold there that they really didn't have much of a drink and draw, but we get to see the images that were there, and then we're going to hear all about that when we get him and Joey on here. So let's take a look at where in the world is Bob Leighton today.
Hey, Bill and Kasra, how you doing? It's Bob. I did not make a opening video for Drink and Draw tonight, and for good reason. Right now, as I'm sitting here, it's about 11:30 at night in your future, and it is 8 degrees outside with about a 10-mile-an-hour wind. It is like cold like you would not believe, coming right down from Siberia. As a result, we had a very low turnout at Drink and Draw. Most of my angels didn't show up. We had about 6 guys, and there was a couple of gals that were there early, but they left right away. So most of us, our hands got numb because Joey's place is big and very hard to heat. So we wound up huddling around a space heater, but we did get some drawing done. Our theme was, of course, things that make us warm or things that are hot, things that represent heat or warmth, because we were all freezing to death. It was a very short drink and draw, over very quickly, but we still have some drawings, as you'll see here, coming up, and we'll talk to you live here in a few minutes.
I thought you would want to see this. It's the very first snowfall of the year in Seoul. It is snowing tonight. I came downstairs just to show you guys this because it's the very first snowfall and it's sticking. Look, how about that? So I haven't seen snow in 10 years, so for me it's kind of fun. I'm sure it won't be by tomorrow.
Hey, it's Tom and Joey.
And truer words were never spoken. Oh my God, is it bad here? Oh my goodness. Look, I got chemical hand warmers in my pockets. You know, it is a balmy 8 degrees here right now. So you're talking about Ohio. Yeah, what's it going to be, like almost freezing? It is probably. Like the hawk comes down from Siberia, and man, it is seriously cold. You know, but we get by. But look, one thing, I'm healthy again. I'm back to 100%. Thank goodness. Joey and his rice porridge kind of pulled me through.
Is that a family secret there, Joey?
No, it's
Korea's chicken soup.
Yeah, it's a Jewish penicillin, Korean style. You know, but it has the same effect. So. Yeah, I'm pretty much 100% now, thank goodness, you know. So, but like I said, we had a small turnout last night for Drink and Draw because of the cold or whatever.
This week is it's kind of the second. There's the first cold snap of the year, and then this is the real cold snap where it got yesterday was the coldest day of the year so far.
It's to the bone. I mean, I got fur-lined gloves, and my hands still like freeze up, you know. But that's what I said. I was drawing last night, and my fingers started getting numb, you know. So we were like huddling by a space heater over there, just to kind of stay warm or whatever. Joey and I took the bus back. We couldn't even walk home. It was like it's only 10 blocks, but it was so cold. We took the bus home. Yeah, so
that's cold. But I like the you had a couple Ghost Rider sketches there.
Cold, you know,
Feels like
where am I at? Yeah, I am like frozen solid is where I'm at, you know. But anyway, I want to say hi to Jason, my husband-in-law. He's watching, you know, tonight. You know, I told him I said hi to him or whatever. So hey, Jason, what's up?
Jason's
In
watching.
a few weeks when OAX, you know, because I'm staying with them and Jill when I get to the States.
Fantastic.
So, well, because they have a heated pool. Yes.
Well,
something
I think Casper has a pool, but it's not heated.
Yeah, no, it's like they have a heated pool. I told Jill I would happily pay for the propane to keep that thing hot for the whole time I'm there. You know, I miss swimming, man. So anyway, I want to tell you that Joey had the auction. We had the auction for the drink and draw drawings that we did on Sunday. So I was going to have him tell you a little bit about it.
So yeah, we had a pretty good turnout at it for the charity auction. We were selling games, we had vendors, and then we also had, of course, all the drink and draw art, which I put into bundles. I put some of it online for people to bid on it, but the in-store bidders just did a the in-store bidders went nuts for it, because for a lot of the people coming, it's some of the first sketches that they've ever bought, and they were pretty reasonably priced. So yeah, we raised over $1,000 off of the stuff that we sold, and we still have stuff left over. So that I didn't actually put out to sell yet.
But tell them what you're really proudest of, okay?
So the only sketch I've done at Drink and Draw was the Hamburger Hulk.
Yes.
And and it's sold for the same price as one of Bob's sketches.
How does that make you feel, Bob?
Like I need to work harder.
I remember the Hamburger Hulk.
It's Hamburger Hulk. You know, I mean, it's like we all remember that drawing fondly, right? It's like you know.
To be fair, it was professionally colored by another artist.
So yeah, there you go. But no, listen, raising money for a good cause was the whole point of this thing, and so the fact that we were able to donate the money to a worthy charity here in Korea, that says it all. Plus, like you said, we're going to sell more, and we're already started phase 2 for the summer's auction. So yes, last night was the beginning of the new year for us at Drink and Draw. So somebody just wrote about sending me long underwear. I will happily accept it. You know, if you get 2X long underwear, you send them to Joey, Dyson Comics Cafe. You can just send it right there. Okay. I'm happy. Long johns, anything that keep me the hell warm.
Spider-Man underoos.
Underoos is fine. Yeah.
As long as they have pockets for the heated hand warmers, right?
Yeah. So did Cass send you what I went back to work this week? Did he send you any of the artwork?
Yes, I did get something here. Let's see. I think this was the image from last week, but somebody colored it, right?
This is an OAX. Yeah, but my friend Rich C2, who colors a lot of my stuff, he saw it and said, "Oh God, can I please color this?" So I sent it to him. Although the original for the customer, the OAX attendee, is black and white, but I wanted to show you the color version because I thought it was really nice.
Yeah, that came out great.
Rich is a really good colorist for a guy who's not working professionally. He's pretty awesome.
Then you did some cover recreations.
Yeah. This was actually a commission. It was a recreation of Invaders 20 cover. Of course, I made a few changes. I always take some license with it. I'm a big fan of the old triangle head Submariner. So I kind of put him into the original kind of Kirby thing. I love the original triangle head guy, because it was just so weird and alien looking, so I'm allowed to take artistic license with this stuff, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, Everett kind of drew.
Yeah, the hand colored by me, and it's still time for people to order if they want to get something. they can I still have a few weeks. I have about 4 weeks before I leave, so there's still time.
Yeah, I think you've had over a dozen pieces from OAX, right? I mean, it
Yeah,
seems
you
like
guys
you've done a lot.
set it up so you can track it. Yeah, so far it's been that, you know. Plus, I'm getting other commissions too, but
Right.
not OAX. But
No, that's fantastic.
yeah,
You're
no,
back
but,
in business, Bob.
I am back in business. There's a couple more. Yeah, that's another one, another recreation. Really interesting working on Gil Kane. This one actually was done for Spencer.
Mhm.
But it's like doing these old Gil Kane things. It's really interesting. I only inked him a few times when he was alive, so but I remember this cover fondly. So that was kind of fun to do.
Oh, definitely. I think this cover hangs over at Metropolis Galleries, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that right? Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I've seen it in a few interviews I've done with them. I think maybe Vincent Zerzolo owns it, but yeah, classic image. You did it really well.
Oh yeah, yeah. And like I said, this was an OAX commission. Somebody wanted Tony Stark with his perm, with his 80s perm rather. Yes, and in the Silver Centurion armor. So I had to indulge him. So there you go. So this was an 11 by 17 single figure.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I always loved the perm, dude. You know.
It was the times.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You know, plus, like I said, I was dating a hairdresser at the time who also permed my hair, if you remember correctly.
Mhm.
You know, and it's like, because, you know, never date a hairdresser because they'll talk you into anything, you know. You know, that video that Jason made, you know, about my career,
Yeah,
that little 3-minute video,
Mhm.
it's just it's a demonstration of bad hair choices over the years, you know.
Mhm.
Permanent padded shoulders, you got that right. Miami Vice, baby.
Yes. Yeah, Nick Barucci had a perm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, there's some incriminating photos of him out there.
Is there one more there, Bill?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, recreation of my classic Iron Man 150 cover with that John Romita Jr. and I did. Again, now that I have the functioning printer, I can actually print the trade dress right onto the page and then draw on top of that. Right, so
Mhm.
there's no paste ups or anything like that, so it comes out pretty clean. It's a little bit more work, but it looks so much better than pasting up the logos and stuff. Plus, when you paste up, you know, the paper doesn't match, so when you put color on it, you know, it always shows. You know,
Right.
it's so you know, I kind of developed this technique where I can print the trade dress right on the page and then draw it. So that's why it comes out looking like that.
That's not too bad. I actually own a page from this story.
Oh, do you?
I do. It's like Tony's in the castle, you know, feeling like he's gonna have a pretty crappy night, and then
and Lenora walks in.
yes, he walks in and he's like, "Oh, things are changing for the better." Right?
Well, no, because when Dave and I plotted that, we were like, yeah, Tony still, even if he's a Campbell, he still has to get laid because he's Tony
Exactly.
Stark.
I know that was like, I love that. Yeah, he's got his helmet sitting at the bedside. I mean,
which sets up a whole time paradox. You know, if Lenora wound up pregnant, you know, but that's another thing. You know, he's his own great grandfather or something. Who knows?
Exactly. No, but that one, the moment I saw it, I knew I had to have that one. It was too good.
Well, I'm flattered, man. Thank you.
Well, it's a classic issue. I mean, the pages from I can't even say other than that page I've seen any other from 150 come up in a long time. So,
you know, those early pages, especially the covers or whatever, they're almost impossible to find now. I mean, they've been snarfed up forever. So, but it's always a great walk down memory lane, to say the least. You know, whenever I get to go revisit this stuff, it's so fun, man. You know, so.
I'm not sure if that one's signed or not, but if it isn't, I'll make sure I bring it with me to OAX.
Bring it with, yeah, definitely. Anybody that's coming to OAX, if you do want to get your pages signed, you know, that's not a problem. You know, I'm happy to do it. Okay, you know that's you know, if you're the proud possessor of a Bob Leighton page of art, you should have it tagged.
There you go. Well, hey, you know what? I know you mentioned wanting to say hi to David Finch, and I see he just popped into.
Is he in there? Yeah, because I haven't seen David forever.
Well, let me bring him in so we can say hi.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, brother.
Here, let me.
How are ya?
Long time no see, man.
Yeah, it's been a little while. It's good to see you.
Vanessa Pangoya. Which is, I'm pleased to meet you in Korean.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah, that went.
No, I wasn't calling you a name or anything. You know, I love you, man. I wouldn't do that. You know, but are you? So you're gonna be at OAX?
I am. Yeah. So I'll see you there.
Great. So we'll have some time to hang out. That's great, man. You know,
That
I
should
just
be a
wanted
lot
to
of
say
fun.
hi to you from cold, frosty Korea here. Before you went on with Bill.
You're in Korea right now.
Yeah, I'm living here right now. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know. Wow.
You don't follow the show much, do you?
We've had we've been
much.
doing a Where in the World is Bob Leighton for like the last 26 weeks.
23 episodes, right? Or 24?
I think it might be like 28 at this point.
28, yeah. So
on his world
I
tour.
left the States in April last April, and I've been traveling around the world since then. But I kind of landed here and just stayed here for a while.
I've never been, but I've heard it's nice.
Oh, you would love it. Joey would love to have you come visit too. He has the only American comic shop in all of Korea.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, sells a lot, pushes a lot of paper with your name on it, dude. So,
Well, that's great.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to say hi. It's been a long time. It's good to see you, David.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
We'll make sure we kind of set you guys up near each other. We'll try to work that out. But
we'll all see each other. It's good. It's going to be.
It's a small room at the end of the day, right?
Exactly.
You're going to be able to see from one side to the other, so there's no way you're not going to have some time to hang out.
Well, I just wanted to say hi. That's all, dude. So it's good to see you. You're looking good. All right. And it's like we'll see you at OAX. All right.
All right, I'll see you there.
All right.
All right, Bob. Well, listen, man. Thanks as always, Joey. Congrats on the auction success. I'm glad it did well for the charity. So I'm glad. If you do a second one, let me know. Always happy to share.
Well, we're definitely doing another one. So
okay, fantastic.
Tonight I'm going to go eat eel. So I'll take some video of me swallowing raw eel.
Raw. I've had eel, not raw.
We had raw crab last week. Like literally, they just cut the crabs in half, soak them in soy sauce, and you eat them like toothpaste.
Pulled out of the water an hour before. So
you miss all this cultural excitement that's on Where in the World is Bob Leighton. You got to tune in every week, man. Because part of it is me geeking out on really bizarre Korean foods.
Well, from now on, I'll have to keep up.
There you go. See, that's good. That's excellent, man. We got a new viewer. How about that, Bill?
Wonderful. Growing leaps and bounds every day. All right, Bob. Well, listen, you and Joey enjoy the rest of your day. Stay warm and enjoy the eel, and be sure to videotape some of that.
I got my chemical hand warmers with me at all times, so it's fine. Dave, like I said, we'll see you at OAX, brother.
All right. See you there.
All right.
See you guys. Hey, Dave. Well, we've got other people in the chat here, but Bob specifically said, I want to say hi to Dave before I leave. So we worked that out.
Yeah, it's good to talk to him. It's been a few. Well, like everybody, there's that block of COVID. You kind of, it feels like frozen time. So I think it's probably been 4 years since I've seen him.
It seems like there's a lot of people who we've not seen in 4 years, but we've actually never met. But hey, I've got other people from Essential in the green rooms right now. So why don't I bring them in? We've got Mr. Stelfreeze. Hi, Brian. And
how's it going, guys?
Eric Grove is also here hanging out, and Jason, the ringleader of them all, right here.
Our fearless leader.
Well, it's good to have you all here. We were finally able to announce some of Essential's artists that were coming to the show, and Dave and Brian. As numerous times as I've actually seen you both at shows before, I've never stopped by to say hi, because you always have lines at your tables or you're busy. So I tend to wait. I want to look for that quiet moment, and for the both of you, there never is one at a show. So that's why we've never met before. But I look forward to getting to see you both at OAX, as well as Eric, who I've had on a few times already. Nice to see you again, Eric.
Yeah, good to see you.
And one thing I was curious about, Dave, you and Eric, kind of, I wouldn't say work together, but you guys kind of have like I don't know, you don't share studio space, but you guys are familiar with one another, right?
Eric, actually, we don't share studio space, but I've worked with Eric more. We'll call during the day and I'll say, hey, you want to get on at like 9 o'clock or something, and we paint together, we draw together. I haven't really done that with another artist in years, so it's been really good for me. I've been learning a lot from Eric. We've been studying painting especially a lot over the last couple of years, and yeah, it's been great for me. I think it's been good, right, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely blast. Yeah, I think 2.5, 3 years. I think it's almost every weekend we get together and just have a blast painting, learning as much as we can. It's a whole lot of fun.
And I should mention before I forget, we also do a stream on my channel. I don't know the name of my channel, David Finch, whatever. It's on YouTube. If you type my name in, it's pretty easy to find. And we do a stream all the time. We have artists, sometimes incredible artists like Brian Stelfreeze. We were lucky enough to have. And I
did. That was a fantastic hangout.
That was fun.
Very hopeful to have him on again. He's, you all know he's a genius, and watching him work is magical. So it was a huge privilege to have him.
Well, one of the things that I'm pretty happy about is we do have a lot of comic book or illustration artists who paint, and that's at OAX. That's really for me. I've always been a science fiction fantasy fan, and like this whole wall is paintings that I've picked up from like the IX Art Show and a few other people. I've gotten stuff from Bob Eggleton and Daryl Sweet and a few other artists. So that's in my blood. So when we were kind of dreaming up what we wanted to have for OAX and the artist lineup, we didn't want to just have everybody doing pen and ink. So when we found out about Eric, we were like, yeah, that's another great person to add. And of course, Brian, you're, I've enjoyed watching you paint at Heroes many times. You're always, amazing there. And I think that's one of the really fun things about that show is getting to see artists work. On stage and everything.
Well, I think Dave nailed it when he said that the coolest thing to me is the learning process, and I think illustration, particularly painting, it's an immortal quest. I mean, it's something you can do for the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we just even added another artist, Miles Wohl, who does trading card painting. He's going to be, I think he was the last artist that we announced. So yeah, and then you add in guys like Tony Moy, Daniel Govar, Dan Brereton. I mean, we have a lot of people who enjoy working in color, which is again, it's fantastic. I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody there, and and the work that you bring and the work that you will be doing while you're there. So Jason, nice to see you. We haven't seen each other in a while. You were traveling the globe yourself. We could have been doing a Where in the World is Jason Schachter.
Yeah, we were with these guys in the Middle East a few weeks ago, and I forget where now. It seems like I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. So I know we were in the Middle East somewhere.
Abu Dhabi.
And, I forget. The year's gone by pretty quickly, so it kind of meshes into one big airplane ride, I guess. But yeah, it's been a bit, pretty good convention season. Abu Dhabi was great. Got to hang out with these guys all week. Saw some cool stuff. Visited a place never thought we'd be, or I'd be, and saw some cool stuff. So it was a lot of fun. Hopefully, we'll get to go back sometime.
I saw the video clip. It looked like you guys were outside, or was that how it was set up?
Yeah, there was a bit of. We of course got, I don't want to say stuck, but we were put in the spot where the sun was, I guess, most direct. So we got a bit of a tan, which was fine. They gave us fans and they put shades up, and we hung out for quite a while. So it was nice to be outside, considering generally we're in a basement or a dungeon or enclosed convention hall most times, wanting to see the outside. So now we were at least outside having some fresh air, which was great. It was a lot of fun. They took good care of us.
Yeah, it was winter there, but summer everywhere else. Really, I mean, it was beautiful. So it was nice.
What was Hydra just asked? Were there a lot of art collectors there, or were more fans of the comics? Do more signing than sketching? What was?
I mean, I noticed there was a lot more art students that came by asking for critiques, and to look at their art and asking for some input, more so because I also think there was 2 or 3 other conventions going around in Singapore and Tokyo during that same time frame. So I think a lot of those collectors were in other parts of the world, but there were a few collectors. The main organizer is a big comic art fan, so he came by and he bought a few pieces, which was great. And talking to him about his art collection, which is bananas. Hopefully we'll get to see some of his stuff at some point. But it was more, since it's a first year show, still needs to kind of get out there a little bit more. But I think I noticed more art students and fans that were just excited to see these guys because they never thought they'd have the opportunity to meet David Finch or Brian Stelfreeze or Matteo Scalera, and they were just excited to meet these guys and talk and just take a look through the portfolios.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we know all about the struggles of a first year show. We're learning as we go as well. You'd think it's easy, but it's not. To get the word out and everything. But we have a strong lineup for the first show. I'm really excited about it. I mean, we have 60 artists that are going to be there, and I think we've got a good contingency of other art dealers and
are you looking to get any commissions yourself?
I'm actually on a couple lists. Yes. So, how can I not? And my wife gave me a budget, which was a little surprising. She probably wants part of that budget for herself, but she said, she said, you're going to have this much money to spend while you're there. But, again, I know for sure, because she collects, and so does one of my daughters, and both of them will, be there working. So I'm sure a portion of that allotment will go to them. But, I mean, you have to. I mean, I think that's, this is a good opportunity. Because some people aren't. Just so everybody else, I did not get on, the super expensive pre-con stuff with like Adam Hughes or Sean Gordon Murphy, but I picked up, I got on a few other lists, so that was good. I don't have that much money to spend. And, the thing is, even when I go to shows, I tend to like to be a good patron, right? I like to try to hit up at least 10 people and pick up stuff. So I never end up getting like the most expensive stuff, but I like to spread the money, my money around the room, because I don't know. I mean, when you're going to a show like that, that at least for me is like kind of my mindset. I don't want to spend it all in one place. And if I walk away with 10 pieces, I mean, all the better, right?
Yeah. And Bill, I got to tell you, as an artist kind of going to a show, I'm really fascinated because oftentimes I think with shows, for them to organically develop kind of their niche, sometimes that takes like decades, and I think the fact that you guys are year one saying this is an art-centric show, this is what this show is about, rather than leaving it kind of to the wolves. It's as an artist attending the show, it's actually quite relaxing. It's like, oh, okay, so this show is going to be about what we do. And I think, there's a growing consensus among artists that we're not enjoying shows like San Diego anymore, because it used to be about comics. It used to be about comic book art. It used to be about meeting creators. And now it's not so much. It's kind of more of a media show. So I really appreciate you guys kind of like planting your flag beforehand and saying this is going to be an art show. And I think what that's doing is a number of collectors that I've talked to are kind of going, okay, we're getting excited about this. So I mean, kudos for taking that approach, which I think is a novel approach to doing conventions.
Thanks. Yeah, it's something that I used to co-own Big Wow with Steve Morger back in the day when Frank Cho was one of the owners too.
It's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and so I definitely learned a lot about running shows and and the right way to treat your guests and those sorts of things. Because he was just a great host. I mean, obviously he runs Como right now as well, and when we started doing the virtual shows at the beginning of the pandemic, that was when I started getting the itch to actually do an in-person art show, because I was having so much fun with the virtual shows and doing these live streams and speaking with artists and everything. I thought, we need one of these in the States. And it is, it's sort of risky, but we have the comic art fans community, which is 20 years strong, and so I have a lot of support there. And we want to make it, we want to make it something that the collectors are really going to enjoy going to. And I think that because if you can get the collectors there, you're going to have a good show. And right now, we're at a good point. I think if we can, get another, I don't even know what the numbers would be, but the thing is, it's a good ratio right now. I feel pretty great about it. We've walked the hall. We kind of know where we're having a lot of, we know where Essentials set up, for instance. It's and it felt really good to see, all right, this is really going to come together like an art show, and, exactly how we want. We're not going to have the room divided up with pipe and drapes so you can't see, from one side to the other. We're pretty much going to keep it as open as we can in the center. It's essentially a square, and then on the outside of the square are more of the art dealers and auction houses and people that need a 10 by 10 booth space. And then the artists are, there's technically like 2 islands and then 2 small rows, but there won't be pipe and drapes. You should be able to see everybody from no matter where you're standing on the floor. And that was the goal. I mean, I don't want it to feel like a con. We specifically made sure we didn't use the word con or convention within any of the, the branding and PR pieces that we've written, because we really do want it to be an art show. And I can tell you, we've had a lot of comic shops email wanting to set up there that are local, tattoo parlors, all of that. I can't at least 5 bands have asked to play at the show, and we've politely turned them all down. So, that's not what the show is about. And I think that, for us, it's, I think this is an opportunity potentially to, kind of raise awareness of, the comic arts, and that it's, really is a international art form. But I think that, it gets overlooked a lot. Like you're saying, it shows these days where, 20, 30 years ago, every major show had the word art or arts in it. The New York Comic Arts Festival or whatnot. The first convention had the word art in it. And we don't see that at all anymore. Everybody's trying to creatively put the word, festival or expo, or, it's just not there. And so, yeah, it's a fun opportunity, for us to kind of, to do this. For me, it's an extension of what we've been doing since the pandemic started, which was just doing more, Jason, we've done a few things together, and I've been, done a lot of creator interviews and had a lot of, and just done fun sales opportunities with artists too. And all of that just made me realize doing it in person would be even better than doing all these things virtually. So I'm looking forward to it. And again, having essential support. I mean, Jason was honestly was one of the first reps that I spoke to. It took us a while to get everything figured out. No fault of either of ours at all. But, I'm glad that, we're going to have Essential well represented at the show. It means a lot. It really does.
Well, thanks for having us. It's going to be a good time.
I agree. Now, I didn't want to not mention, Dave, you got a Kickstarter out there going right now. Or I should say Jason has a Kickstarter for
yes.
Dave, but it's doing rather well.
Doing all the hard work. That's right.
But yeah, it looks, what is it? It's over $90,000 right now. So that's a good start in the first couple of days. I mean, you got almost a month to go. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's going really well. I'm thrilled. You never know how something like that's going to go over, and there's always a lot of fingernail biting leading up to it. But we could not be more happy. So yeah, it's just great to feel the support.
Now, Tim Guerrero had a question. I guess he said, "What's the size of the book?" He says the info is not on the Kickstarter. Is it?
It's like 9 by 13 or so.
So it's a little standard for an art
It'll
book.
be hardcover. Let's see. In comparison, it's going to be the same size as the Arthur Adams book, which is this big, but a hardcover. So it's pretty,
Yeah, it's a
pretty hefty
book. Not IDW original art size though. Timothy.
Yeah, it's a little smaller and a bit easier to carry, so we don't break our backs with everything. So yeah, but it's a pretty big size. It's going to be, I think, nice. But
so yeah, thank you for mentioning that, because I definitely want to, get that one out there. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah.
I'll actually throw it in the chat.
Get your signing pen ready, because you're going to be seeing a lot of those.
Hopefully, yeah, absolutely. Hopefully.
When are they due in hand? Let's see. Is it? I would assume probably in the late spring or summer. What's the turnaround time?
The book's done. So
Oh, it's all done.
we
Oh,
compiled
okay,
everything.
even better.
Yeah, we got everything done. We're just letting the project go through. So once we finish mid-January, whenever that is, we'll be able to have books in probably by mid-February, and
Perfect.
then out by the end of February. So we're trying to streamline it so that by the time we go to Kickstarter, we know what we want to do. We have everything set. We just want to present it to the community, and then get it out as soon as possible, and then offer some really cool stuff. So, David's got some cool reward tiers. A lot of the stuff sold out pretty quick, so we're looking to do a few other variants. And it's going to, dovetail into the other creators that we're working with. One of which is here. We're trying to push him to, get on board with his stuff. So, Brian will hopefully get his stuff together soon, so we can start presenting that to Marvel. But there's really great stuff that's coming down the pipeline. So we just really appreciate everyone's, help and support in supporting the project, and then helping to do the other projects as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, it's I dig it. I think it's really cool, and I'm happy to help out and yeah, that's about it.
Well, fantastic. I mean, any PR I can run for you, just let me know. I mean, I think we put it in a newsletter that we put out there, but yeah, anything you need in the lead up, especially in the last couple of days for any kind of last minute push, just let me know.
No, that'd be great. I
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
it. Yeah. Who else do we got that you're going to surprise us with, Bill, for the show?
Oh, you mean guest wise?
Yeah.
I'm kind of done. There's a few other people, but yeah, we were kind of content to stay at 60. Because we had a lot of people who, I wouldn't say a lot, but we had some guests that we didn't think we could get. Like Adam and Allison to come out. I mean, that was kind of a pleasant surprise. So I was really, really happy with that, because I know they've been doing shows a little bit more lately than they did for a few years there, but. The thing for me was we wanted to make sure that we kept that, the attendee to artist ratio at a good level. One that, you never, there's that tendency. And certainly, I mean, we got contacted by a lot of people, but we tried to sort of, I hate to use the word curate, but we wanted to really, kind of figure out, which artists that we wanted to have there, because the ones that complemented each other. And so, while we could have extended a lot more invitations out there or accepted requests, we kind of we knew, I always said 50, Kazra always said 60, and we ended up at 60. So he won. But, my goal was to stay closer to 50, because I just felt like, I want to make sure that everybody walks away really happy, and that's, whether they're an attendee buying art or they're an artist coming to the show. I mean, everybody has to win, and have a positive experience. And so that was, so my fingers are crossed that that's what happens. But, we've done pre-con stuff with several artists. And so the good thing there is, there's a lot of artists that are coming in that have already made probably, more money than they might have made at a regular show. So they're coming in and they're comfortable. And I like that. I like the idea that, that people they're not coming there with the pressure of having to recover or travel expenses or those sorts of things. So, I mean, it's definitely a different approach that we're taking with this show versus a lot of other ones out there, or even Como or any of the art shows that are in the U.S., which aren't enough, and those ones are all vintage art sales. But but yeah, guest wise, no, I'm very content with where we're at right now. You want to see that you guys? I know you're not regular watchers of the show, but on Tuesday, and I think there's some people in the audience who probably hasn't seen this too. Adam wanted to do a piece for the auction, right? And I pitched him on an idea to do something with him doing the main character and Gerhard doing the backgrounds. And
wow.
So I pitched him on some ideas, and here I can show you what, because he's now done with the piece, and he's sent it off to Gerhard. So here's the piece he did. I don't know the size on it, but yeah, it's really nice. So I can't wait to see what Gerhard does with the backgrounds, because obviously that's how he worked with Dave Sim on Cerebus, and I had suggested Red Sonja because of the Red Sophia reference, and so I just think I'm very intrigued to see how this piece turns out.
Dude, that's a win already.
Yeah, it really is. It's incredible.
Yeah, I was really, I was blown away because I didn't know what to expect. But Adam was like, as soon as we said Gerhard, he was all excited. He was like, "Yeah, that's I can't imagine, but this is like the once in a lifetime opportunity to get to work with Gerhard." So he was
Yeah.
excited about it. Yeah, and I was like, "Wow, that's cool." And the thing is, I want to try to set up those kind of opportunities, right, where we're all able to do something that we're not necessarily going to be able to do at another show, or maybe even professionally, right? I mean, you just never know who you might end up working with, in your career. So I think that, that should be like kind of a I don't know, a foundational tenet of OAX is to try to create as many of those interesting opportunities as we can. Everybody should try to stretch themselves in one way or another.
Well, and I think one thing that's really cool is all of us as artists, we have these heroes, and I think to a certain extent, we suffer from such jealousy that getting the opportunity to stand in front of someone's desk or someone's table just as an artist and watching them kind of do their thing. I mean, that was one of the things that I thought was fascinating about Big Wow, is that some of the Spanish artists that you don't see on a regular basis, you could go over to their table and kind of check out, it's like these people that you've seen their art ever since you were a kid, but now you're actually watching them create it. And even when I was in Abu Dhabi, being able to kind of go, okay, I've got a little bit of a break. Let me just run down and see what Dave's working on,
Sure.
just kind of hang out and getting that opportunity to really be a fanboy. It's like that personality, that fanboy personality never leaves. And I love shows like this because it gives you an opportunity to do it with a lot of artists. That's one of the things that was cool about Como is being able to go and see Milo and Nera just bang out little head sketches. It's just absolutely incredible.
No, well, we're hoping that they have the same kind of feel. Definitely. I mean, that was, I wanted to. It goes back to thinking about who was going to be on the guest list, is trying to make it a bit diverse. So it's because a lot of shows you go to in the U.S. these days, you do see the same artists regularly. Whether it's because they're regional and the artists are easier to bring to a certain show here or there, and so that I think that's important. We want to be able to kind of have a show where the creators are kind of getting to hang out with others that maybe they don't get to see too often. And I mean, as a first year show, whether it's 100% successful or not, that remains to be seen. But that's always going to be a goal. I remember asking one of the early artists, who would you like to have to the show? I mean, who would you like to meet? And I didn't, and none of them worked out. But he asked for Joe Jusko, whom I asked. He asked for Drew Struzan and Boris Vallejo of all, and I have a contact with Boris too, because I know the guy who helps him out and lives near him, of Boris and Julie, and so I even went to them too. So I went to all of them, all four of them, and Drew's not really doing shows anymore, unfortunately, and so that didn't pan out either. But I tried, and so that's really the way I want to approach successive shows is doing that too. More, who would you like to have as someone else in the room? Who would you like to see? Because I want it to be as exciting for you guys to be here as it is for us as fans.
Well, yeah, the cool thing is, especially like early days, when I was first getting into comics, and Dave and Eric are probably the same way. And in fact, the way that I met Adam is going to a show and sort of sitting next to him. And this is like back when, sort of year 1 or 2 for both of us. And we just kind of hung out and had a good time. And my buddy Carl Story, who's an inker, he was there as well. And we had such a good time just hanging out with each other at the table that we went to dinner and then went back to like Carl's room and just sort of hung out all night, like doing sketches and just chit-chatting. And then the next day they went into my room and hung out all night. So it was like it was just and I think even Dave's show recreates that thing, that like, hey, sort of artists we're just artist buddies, and we're just kind of hanging out. And when I've been on Dave's show, it has that feeling to it. And even the people in the chat are just like, hey, we're all artists. We're just kind of hanging out, throwing questions out there and having a good time. And I think what you're doing is you're creating that sense with your show, and that's what I'm really looking forward to.
I appreciate hearing that, Brian, and that is true, Dave. I had Howard Chaykin on like a week and a half ago, and I've interviewed him before, but I was like, I need some different angles on a guy that I've had on the show 5 times, right? So I'm having him on for the 6th time, and I watched the the interview you did with him, because you kind of had a different approach to talking with him and asking him questions, and it was pretty refreshing for me to kind of then go and I didn't ask him the same questions, but it made me feel like I can approach talking to Howard differently after doing 5 shows with him over a 2-year span.
Well, he's such a great guest to have too. He's so interesting, and he has such a huge amount of knowledge that's completely new to me. And he gave me actually a list of artists to check out, and I've been going through that list, and it's incredible the amount of great art that's been out there for and I think unsung great art, especially in illustration, all through the 20th century. So many incredible artists that are kind of forgotten, which is a real shame. So he was great.
Yeah, he's donating all of his clippings to I forget which school or museum or something, but he's just that way. He's a scholar on the illustration arts, that's for sure. He did the same thing to me. I think I approached it in a similar way as you did, and he gave me a list of artists that he told me I had to go check out.
He's very passionate.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's not going to be at OAX, but we talked about maybe in the future at some point we would have him over. But yeah, so Eric, I assume you're pretty excited to be out there too, right? It's have you done a lot of shows locally or traveling?
The last show I did was like about 5 years ago, maybe a bit longer. So
okay.
Really, really excited to be able to go to another one and just see artists that I admire a lot. Get to say hi to Dave again in person, and meet Jason and Brian and everyone is going to be attending. There's a lot of artists I definitely want to meet as well, and just looking forward to it. Just looking forward to the whole atmosphere. And I agree with what Brian was saying. Having an art-centered show is such a great thing. So I can really feel the atmosphere without being there yet. So definitely excited for it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, there's a lot of natural lighting. Not quite as much as you had when you were in Abu Dhabi, but like the east and west walls are all. So it will feel different. It won't feel like you're in a cave, and and that was kind of important too when Kazra and I were scouting locations. We wanted to have a space that wasn't just walls and fluorescent lights. So I think we found probably one of the better spaces in Orlando. For that. So hopefully we have nice sunny days, because then it'll actually live up to what our expectations are for it. But
I've spent too many times drawing under the cell phone lights of fans. It's like everyone turn on your cell phones and hold it over the art while I finish it. That's.
Well, hopefully it's past hurricane season, so we shouldn't have to worry about that. But yeah, it's again, it's going to be a great time. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for doing this for the first year. And it's a challenge, but the fun thing is just knowing that a lot of that everybody's been wanting this. The collectors have been wanting it. The artists definitely have been really into the idea. I can't think of one artist I talked to that wasn't really happy that this was happening. I had Dan Jurgens on the other day, and he'll be at the show, and it's like, I've been waiting for somebody to do this forever, but now I know the challenges. Even though I did Big Wow, that's the one thing, the takeaway is it's like it's a full-time job. I already had like 2 full-time jobs, so this was like having it's a lot of work year one to pull together. There's so many things to agreements and people to figure out who you want to work with for audio and you name it. But I think year 2 will be a lot easier. I can only hope.
And
Fingers
I
crossed.
also think something should be said about like there's something incredibly special about like actually meeting a person face to face. You know, I mean, you can send emails all day long, but when you actually meet the person face to face, you actually have that conversation. You actually get to hang out. You actually get to hear the person laugh. I mean, that's an awesome thing, and I think that same thing translates into original art. There's really nothing like the experience. I mean, you can see a great JPEG, you know, sort of online, but there's nothing like the experience of um, flipping through a collector's portfolio, you know, or watching an artist actually create an original. And I think to me that's just the coolest thing in the world. I mean, prints are fine, high quality stuff, but there's nothing like you know, and I think Eric and Dave might back me up on this. It's like I can admire a JPEG, but I can learn from an original. When I'm holding that piece in my hand and I'm looking at the different sheen of the different materials, it's like that's just an unbelievable experience that you have to be there for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And one thing from, you know, I started doing these live streams in 2020 and at the beginning of the year when the pandemic started. So I've done a lot of interviews with collectors, and the one common thread, you know, that I see in most collectors is they have a creative background, or
Yeah.
job. They're into marketing. They went to art school. They're a musician. Their parents were, you know, did theater. The thing is, you know, that's collecting art is. I don't think is for everybody. It's why we don't have, you know, there aren't 100,000 art collectors out there. It's something, you know, innate in most people who really appreciate the arts, is that we, you know, we have an arts background. I went to art school. I want to do what you guys are doing, but I went to a fine art school that whipped the illustration out of me, and I became you know, a sculptor because that was what they wanted me to do. But it's there. You know, I think it's in most of the collectors, and that's why, you know, being able to have a room full of people who just love the arts is going to be an amazing experience. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be something that we can really build upon, you know, so that future shows are even more engaging and interesting. And if you didn't know, we actually have we're going to have five galleries of art. We have a couple of collectors who are big Marvel trading card art collectors.
Wow.
They're going to have a piece of art representative from, you know, the early 90s from every year. So there's going to be stuff from Boris and Julie, for instance, and Joe and Andy Kubert. I mean, there's going to be, you know, like 25 pieces from that run. And we've got an illustration collector from, it's called the Korshak collection, but lots of illustration art. So there'll be a Frazetta at the show. Really nice painting. A wonderful Hildebrandt painting from the Lord of the Rings calendars from
Oh man,
the late 70s. Going to be there. So we didn't want it to be just I think that every artist is going to want to get up and walk through these galleries to see what's going to be there. I mean, it's I do. I can't wait to actually see this stuff too.
Well, the thing that I'm also looking forward to, and I always do this at shows where like sometimes I'll finish up a piece for a collector and they're putting the piece in their sort of portfolio, and I always kind of go, oh, let me see what else is in there, you know, and just the pride that these collectors have in opening up their portfolio and just showing you their kind of prized collection of things that they got at the show and at other shows. It's, you know, to me that's just so cool, you know, kind of going, oh, okay, let me know the story behind how you got this piece, you know, and it's just like, you know, you can spend all day doing that. And I've been actually lucky enough to go to the house of some collectors and just really get to sit down for hours, just kind of pouring through a collection of pen and ink paintings, you know, cover illustrations. You know, that's the part that I really feel that I'm going to be getting out of this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can see it now because every collector is going to have a portfolio with them. You know that, and And I think that's going to be one of the interesting dynamics of the show too, is what the collectors are bringing into the room. I mean, and, Kazra and I talked about it a lot, that we fully expect the artists to be like, let me see what you brought. I mean, why not? Most artists that we meet have collections, as well, or at least a few pieces. And so you like to, like you said earlier, you like to look at how the work is done. So yeah, I think there's not going to be a loss for things to look at, with 350, 400 portfolios in, with collectors walking around, and then, the artists that are there. I mean, like I said, I think this is just going to be an amazing experience. I'm excited for it to happen, and and then we're trying to do. We're taking care of everybody. We have that reception on Friday. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's basically Calf's 21st birthday. That's kind of why we timed it as we did.
Oh, cool.
We wanted to kind of have kind of a celebration for Calf at the same time as having this. So yeah, it's good. It should be a very, like you said, it's going to be fun, enjoyable, semi-relaxing. But I think there might be a bit sensory overload on the art side of things. But that's good. That's what we want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On the rare occasion that I felt that, I've quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly. So and it will be well documented too. So we've actually got some people who are going to be shooting some video throughout the weekend for us, because that was that's one of the things that you don't have in a first year show, is literally one photograph that you could show to be like, this is what this experience is going to be like. So we knew going into it, we're like, we've got 2 people who are going to be shooting stuff. And we even have lists of things like, during the reception and, the art auction, those sorts of things. We're like, we definitely want to make sure that these things are covered, so we have plenty of material going into future shows to kind of promote what we're doing. But yeah, so again, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, we've got just over 5 weeks, right? I mean, tomorrow this time in 5 weeks, we'll all be hanging out at the reception and enjoying that the night before the show. But again, I appreciate you all coming out. It's gonna be a great time. And Jason, thanks again, for supporting us on this.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Thanks for all you do with the community and pushing it along. As a side note, speaking of team ups, I think David and Brian were working on something to bring to OAX. Yeah. I don't know if it's,
yeah, we'll have something to announce for that pretty soon. So I don't want to say any more.
All right. Well, we didn't talk about this at all, so that's great. I look forward to whatever and whenever that announcement can be made.
And as a side note, someone brought up an arm wrestling competition, at the show, which is a great idea. As a matter of fact, in Abu Dhabi, they had a rock paper scissors contest.
That was a big deal over there too. Let me tell you.
Something like the winner won like 10,000 dirham, which was like $4,000 US or something. So someone made out pretty well.
People were freaking out. They loved it.
Wow. Well, we kind of have barred rock paper scissors on this channel because we tried doing that live and it just does not work. So, so we did it like 2 or 3 times, on Dueling Dealers and a few other shows, and we realized right away that this is just impossible to do in a live stream. But
it's one of the rare occasions where whoever has the worst lag wins.
Exactly. Yeah, and that was exactly what kept happening. We're like, dude, we know either you're lagging or you're just purposely acting like you're lagging, so you can win every time. That's not fair. So yeah, that's true. But yeah, we at Heroes, there's one of the, I don't know if James is in the audience, but he's a pretty buff guy with muscles out to here, and this tall, lanky guy just smoked him in an arm wrestling after they both had a few beers. So the arm wrestling is kind of the thing that we talk about, when we want to have some fun competitions at shows. I can't say that that'll happen during this one, but anytime you can watch James lose miserably to a guy who's like 6'2" and maybe 160 pounds, is always fun to watch. We've gotten it on video, and he literally almost sheds a tear when he gets beaten in like 2 seconds by this guy.
You never know with some of those wiry guys,
Exactly. Yeah, no, I would never arm wrestle. That's for sure. But yeah, well, so keep me posted on anything that you want me to talk about. I mean, one of the things that we do want to do, and I know Como did this last year as well, was be able to kind of publish for those attending, you know, what you'll be doing at the shows, so we can kind of give our attendees you know, the ability to kind of set up a game plan, what they want to do. So if you're bringing something special that maybe hasn't been offered before, or you know, there's actually some creators who are bringing stuff that won't be for sale, but they want to show it off. Like Bill Morrison is actually bringing all the originals cover to cover of Simpsons #1. It's not for sale, but he's like, I want to do something special that, you know, I've had in my possession for all these years, and I want to show it off. And so they're bringing out, and it's going to be on some kind of a portfolio that just, you know, can flip through and look at. And I'm like, damn, that's cool. But those are the things that we want, you know, whether it's that or what, you know, again, what your sketch prices are. You know, I want to be able to publish all of that in advance, so that people have the, you know where they want to go. They have a checklist that they're going to have in their head that they can tackle when they visit the show. So, you know, that'll be something that I'll be relying on Jason to provide that, but he'll have to talk.
I'll send it over. We'll get you, because I think all the guys there are taking a commission list, right? So
okay, cool.
I don't know, Eric, you have a contact, yeah, for your commission list?
Yeah, we actually have a page on the site for Eric. I think he's gotten a couple commissions already, so that's good, 2 or 3. And that's the thing, because of the trading card art collectors that are there. There's they're supposedly kind of put the word out with the other sketch card and trading card art collectors. So, you know, and they're more into the, you know, painted pieces and stuff. So, yeah, I expect Eric to get a few more before the show starts, and to probably get some while you're at the show, Eric.
Will be great. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think one of the things that that always gets me excited when I'm at a show like this, where people are actually doing originals, is when I'm at my table and, like, you know, sort of an Adam Hughes original that someone just got hot off the press, you know, kind of comes by and says, "Oh, look what Adam just did." You know, it's just like, I just kind of get that Captain Kirk, "Damn you, Adam!" You know? But it just makes me it makes me want to work. You know, when I see even when stuff from the guys at Essential Sequential, who are just like a couple of like seats down, when I see something they've done, I'm like, oh no, that will not stand. You know, so
I'm sure you're not the only one that said "damn you" to Adam Hughes before, right? I mean,
yeah, on a regular basis.
Oh man, well, I hate to cut this short, but I have a couple other guests lined up for the evening. But again, I sincerely appreciate you know Eric and Dave and Brian for coming to the show. It's going to be great. We have you know, a few other. Remind me, Jason, because I'm feeling a little bit fried. Ryan, I think we have Sean Crystal.
Sean Crystal will be there. Dave Johnson's coming.
Dave Johnson's going to be there too, right?
Yeah, and I'll bring some other art, because we'll be in town for the week, so I'll try to bring some stuff down too.
Well, I know we have 6 tables for you, or spaces, so there's room for you to throw down a few portfolios.
Yeah, I think Clay might swing by and say hello and bring some art.
He's local, right? He's in Florida, so I know he's actually closer to me. I'm north of Orlando. I think he's near
JG. Sorry, yeah, JG's coming too.
JG, my goodness, how could I forget JG? All right, see, another painter. See, that's there you go. But yeah, well, listen, you know, anything I can do leading up to this to, you know, push out any announcements, hit me up.
I'll send you some information tomorrow. But yeah, all the guys are taking commissions, and we'll be happy to hang out and show some art and all that fun stuff. So yeah, thanks for having us, Bill. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your night, and have a great holiday season. I mean, you know, got Christmas and New Year's coming around here too. So, all right.
Well, thank you, Bill.
Yep. Take care.
Thanks, Bill. See you, Dave, Eric.
All right. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's you know, I always forget about, how could I forget JG Jones too, right? I mean, I love his work, and I don't own anything by him anymore, but I have owned a few pieces by JG over the years. So yeah, well, now moving right along, I've got another guest to bring onto the show. We've had this gentleman on once before, but it's been a while. I think it was like last spring. So let me welcome Mr. Adam Kubert to the show. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Bill.
How you doing? Man, you're like in your study, man. You're like you look way too relaxed, my friend.
Well, it's funny because in the green room I could see what's going on, and I thought, geez, we're twinsies.
Oh, that's right. Shoot, man. All right. Well, I can't change into anything else
The
right now.
cat
I
is
don't
out of the
have
bag.
That's right. That's right. Well, I know when. Yeah. Well, that's true. Well, when you were here, I think we both had black T-shirts on. There's something going on there, but yeah. What can we do?
You're
Look,
right.
I've only got one button on my
I forgot
pocket. You've got two.
I forgot about that. You're right.
So well, welcome back to the channel. We've like I said, it's been a few months since you've been on here, but you were kind of the marquee guest we announced when we first rolled out OAX, and we wanted to, and you're local,
Yep.
which is wonderful. You don't have to travel too far to get to the show, but
That's right.
but it is a pleasure to have you there. I mean, I think. Because I think I even mentioned it to you when we were here at the house in February, where I said I'm thinking about doing this show in Orlando, and I think at that moment you said you might be interested in doing it. So yeah, it's finally happening.
Mhm.
It's
I know it's amazing the artist lineup that you have, and the level of interest in the show. I for an inaugural show, it's got a lot of buzz.
It does. It does. I mean, uh, I haven't really talked to anybody that isn't excited for it. Even those that I had a lot of friends that have said they can't make it this year. But
Mhm.
are hoping that we do years 2 and 3, and of course we see this as an annual show for certain. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. It's a little overwhelming being in the middle of it. I'll be really happy once the show starts and I can kind of enjoy it and see how how all these ideas and things really play out.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. So on Tuesday,
Great.
we had floated that idea. You weren't here, but I floated the idea about doing something pre-con-ish, and we found out that it's not possible in year 1 anyway. So
Right.
that,
Right.
which
Not
is
this year.
unfortunate. Yeah, but because as everybody knows, the hotel is literally right across from Universal, and we had early on, you and I had talked about because of course you've done all the art for the facades and the Marvel Island over there, and
Mhm.
when we were brainstorming on things that we could do, a trip there in some fashion, made a whole lot of sense because you still own all the originals to the work that was done there. We
Yeah.
are going to have we mentioned art galleries earlier. We're going to have an art gallery of some of your work, some of the oversized cover work, as well as some of the Universal pieces that you did. Wolfie fan,
Absolutely.
he's got he's bringing some of his collection, and we know he's like the biggest Adam Kubert collector out there.
Yeah.
So
And
so that,
McCallum drinker. He's all. We're also
oh, I
McCallum
didn't know
drinkers.
that. Okay, well,
Yes.
we better make sure that
Yeah.
the bar is stocked when
Yeah.
it
It's
comes
good
out.
stuff.
I've actually never had it. I hate to say it, but I'll have to
Well,
try
we're gonna have to break you in.
it. So let's see here. So we decided to do a something different for the pre-con, and since we can't do the VIP experience over there this year, it's something that we're going to look into for future shows. That's for sure. But we opted to do something at the show, which I think works well because again, there's going to be a lot of your art there, and I know a lot of fans were hoping to come away with something. When you're there, and I think you and I talked. When you're at a show, you don't get to draw too often, right? I mean, how many sketches do you typically do? If you have a 7 or 8 hour show.
I generally 1 or 2. Usually I'm in and out doing signings, and once in a while I'll do like a VIP experience type thing, where I'll do commissions, before the show for fans to pick up and do like a meet and greet. But I've done that a handful of times. But generally, I don't just sit and draw. you know,
Well, I don't.
unfortunately.
I don't. If you don't have time, if you're getting up and like you said, going off to do signings, a panel,
Yeah.
whatnot, you can't really stay focused and do your best work. and I would assume that's important.
Although this may be different, you know, and when I was in Greece, I did a handful of like quick remarks,
Mhm.
not high level sketch remarks, which I've done in the past, but more quicker ones, you know. So I may, you know, I may pick up some of those.
Okay. Well, we none of us really knows what to expect for this first show.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, you know, I don't know if I told you, we were, you know, you're going to have your own booth. So whatever you want, you know, you'll have at least an 8-foot table in front of you, and you've
Yeah.
got a lot of space to do whatever you want in.
Yeah.
You know, so
Sounds great.
we haven't talked about that at all yet, but
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, I was trying to read the chat at the same time. I don't read and speak well at the same time. But
I don't chew
let's see.
gum and walk very well.
No, not at all. But
Mhm.
yeah, so what we talked about doing for OAX, you know, because you know, we wanted to do something you know, unique, was we'll show the slides in a minute, but just to give you an idea, I don't think we have any in hand, but I'll have examples when I show the slides. But there's going to be you know, typically you've been doing these. They're kind of like sketch card size drawings, at least space. You define a space about the size of the sketch card on a 5x7 board, and
Correct.
then you kind of work within that, but typically work outside of those confines as well.
Yeah. It has to do with, like, if I do a big drawing, it takes me a long period of time. So I figure if I do a little drawing, it'll take less time, which doesn't happen because I just put more detail into the smaller drawing. So I mean, it's funny because I've worked, you know, my interior pages, all different sizes. I've worked small, almost to size, thinking, oh, it'll go quicker, and um, you know, less space to cover. But I end up drawing smaller and putting more detail into those pages. And as you know, I do I've drawn larger interior pages,
Mhm.
but lately I've been drawing all of my covers, you know, 18 by 24, 20 by 30. And yes, it definitely takes more time to do it that size, but not really that much more time, you know. And I enjoy doing it that large because I'm able to get more detail in there, and I find that, I mean, the printing is so good that most of the stuff shows up, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun doing it that way.
Cool. Well, I think you know, so as far as, we may as well announce the app while, you know, before our time runs out here, Adam, because
Yeah.
you know, but so the app, we just mentioned the sketch size, but also
Yeah.
included with that is also your Marvel art book as well, signed. So
Right.
that'll
Right. Well, let's take a step back.
okay.
What I'm offering is basically, you know, a meet and greet at OAX.
Mhm.
And you know, we're limiting it to 10 slots. And at each, you know, each person will get a you know, roughly 2.5, you know, a trading card size sketch on 5x7 paper, and you'll show examples of
Mhm.
you know, what I've done in the past. Limited color on those, along with my hardcover book, Marvel Art of Adam Kubert, signed, which normally goes for like 50 bucks and whatever. I think I'm going to sign like 5 whatevers they like. I think I haven't figured out if is CGC going to be there at your
They are.
show.
Yeah, CGC and even
They are.
CBCS is going to be represented there too.
Yeah, so I guess I have to figure out that option. I haven't thought that far ahead on that. Um, and we'll hang out for, you know, 15 minutes to an hour, you know,
Right.
just chat,
We were going
which
to set up
I really,
you know, we wanted you to be able to go even you know, like even hang out in the art gallery with the pieces that you
yeah,
got. And
yeah,
we'll, yeah, I
yeah,
think that would be fun. You know, because you figure Wolvie fans bringing, I don't know all. He's got the complete issue, obviously, that he wants to show off. So
that's right. That's right.
that, I think that'll be a kind of a cool environment for you to get to hang out with 10 fans, and
Hmm.
you know, be able to show some of those you know, because that was like the best part of you being here in February, was getting to look at those the cover artworks, and to have you
Oh
know,
yeah,
talk about them. It was like a day at the Kubert School for me, you know, which
yeah,
yeah, it
it's
was
really
very
fun. And I was just gonna say, and at the meet and greets I do, usually I do bring original artwork with me just to show, because people don't get a chance to see, the stuff that I don't know if I'll bring the stuff I'm currently working on. Maybe I will. But they don't get a chance to see, a lot of the originals, that especially the ones that I've hung on to all these years, you know.
Hmm.
So it's fun for me. It's fun for me to talk to the people that, we have a commonality, and I'm as interested genuinely in what the people that sign up for these things do, as they are interested in what I do. So
Hmm.
it's kind of it's a fun thing for me also.
Well, let's go ahead and just show some examples of the artwork then. But I mean, but that's a great thing, and
Right.
that's why we're, just so you know, Adam, and you knew this. This is why we're doing the show. I mean, we all have the same passion for the arts. I mentioned that earlier.
Yep.
Most art collectors have an art background somewhere. Whether they're a musician or they're working in marketing.
Mhm.
I mean, I know a lot of art collectors who are into marketing. They're working on a computer doing graphic design, but most of us are have a creative bent in us, and it's I think it might be part of the barrier why we don't have as big a base of art collectors as we wish we might have out there. But at the end of the day, it helps
Right.
probably keep prices down a little bit for us. But again, that's what's fun about it. We're going to have people who really appreciate the arts. Over 500 people in one space. Just loving the medium,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's why. We can look at, there's other shows out there that are art-centric, but you're spread out, across it. You never have the opportunity to actually be in one place. And this is just going to be, it's going to be remarkable. So I'll go ahead and
I
show
think
this.
it's just going to be a big party.
That kind of is the plan. We have the pizza party on Saturday, the reception on Friday.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yep.
It really is going to feel like a party. That's yeah, somebody in the other day said
I'll bring the
in the chat,
McCallum.
you bring the McCallum. Just don't let them see you bring it into the hall floor, because I know
Okay.
that the one way the hall makes their money, or the venue makes their money, is food. That's like
Right.
they're out there,
Right.
like they kind of have like the
Oh,
food police. We had to actually ask them, can we bring a cake in for Calf's 21st birthday? And they're like,
yeah. Yeah.
oh yeah, birthday cakes are fine. Birthday cakes are
Yeah.
fine. But they don't want anybody like grilling in the out the back door or something like that. But yeah, no, it's gonna be party is pretty much the way you can describe it. Kazra, that came up in a conversation I had with Kazra earlier today, when we were kind of,
Mhm.
somebody said it in the chat the other night, where they were comparing one show and saying, that's where everybody's kind of sipping champagne, but ours is the show where everybody's just going to be having a great time, and it's going to feel a lot more jovial, and that's what we want. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way we've approached the YouTube channel for the last 3.5 years, and I think that's going to carry over into our in-person show too.
I agree. I mean, you've created a great following with CAF, and the thing that everyone has in common is an emotional tie to the work.
Hmm.
So I think that will easily carry over into your into the expo, which I'm really excited for.
As am I. It's
Yeah.
it's like the great unknown. So, but I'm excited for whatever it turns out to be.
Hmm.
Sorry, let's
Same here.
show this off, because you have to email in as well. So I'll, even for the sake of throwing it up there, I've got the email address on the screen for you. Here are the examples and the price. So we've got it's going to be $450. Like we've mentioned, it's a trading card size sketch on a 5x7 board. You get the Marvel art of Adam Kubert, as well as the signatures, and you get the 50-minute or so hangout time in the gallery filled with Adam's artwork, and you get to ask him anything you want. And we may have somebody in there shooting a little video, Adam. I hope that's okay.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And these are also um, uh, they can ask whatever character they want, as long as it's one that I'm known for, and it's not Sugar and Spike, which would take me some time, because I haven't drawn them.
There is a Sugar and Spike collector that will be there.
I'm sure. Oh, really?
Yes, his name is
That's
Alex,
funny.
but I don't think he'll ask you to draw Sugar and Spike. But
Uh-huh.
anything
Cool.
is possible. But he's one of the nicest guys in the hobby. He's His name's Alex Johnson, and he he maintains like a lot of really like helpful lists for new collectors, and he's just very open, sharing kind of guy. And so it's awesome that he's going to be here. I've gotten to hang out with him several times at shows.
Wow.
And yeah, just a good guy. But now that he's heard that, he won't ask you for sugar and spike.
I take that back. I would love to draw sugar and spike for him.
Okay,
I would love that.
He may ask, but these things are, like you said, you put a lot of time into these. This isn't, and just even having the splash of color, because a lot of times when you're getting a convention sketch, it is all, black and white, and, having a little bit of color in there, just like this piece, I know it has 2 colors in there, but it's very thoughtful and really well executed.
Thank you.
And
makes it a little fun,
Oh, heck yeah. Sorry, I'm seeing the emails come in, so it's hard to and now I'm having to count, talk, and read the chat all at the same time. This is unfair.
Oh, good luck with that.
But yeah,
I think I'm just going to pick up my work and I'm going to pick up my work and start drawing.
Yes, well, so what'll happen is if I'm sure I'll end up getting more than 10 tonight, but so I'll let people know that we hit the limit, and those of you who didn't email in a character request, I will email you back and remind you that we need to know which character. Since I am traveling tomorrow, I won't go out and invoice anybody for these tomorrow or anything, but probably by next Monday I'll get invoices out, because we want to kind of just make sure we got everything set up in advance. Oh, and I didn't show a picture of the book. I'm sorry, I had a slide for that too. I know you sent me some pictures for that too. So yeah, this is it's going to be very, very fun, Adam. And the thing is, like you said earlier, you're only able to do a couple of these, even when you're not having to run off and do a signing for a couple hours or a panel. Even in best circumstances, you might be able to do 2 or 3 of these a day. So this basically guarantees you that you're going, as a collector, that you're going to get one of these, and it's going to be done before the show, and you're going to get to have this fun hangout that will be immortalized and videotaped, I promise. So yeah, it's going to be good. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that we're either at 10 or maybe 1 away. So yeah, really, cool. I had a good feeling about this, Adam. Awesome. So I'm sorry the other thing didn't work out, but Tracy put a lot of effort into that. I think we'll be able to figure something out going, for next year. I think it's too right not to figure out a way to make something like that.
That's right. It has to work. It has to work. I mean, I love going to the park, Disney or Universal, we have season passes to eat. Well, Disney, I have a pass from Marvel because I'm an employee there, but I have we have season pass at Universal too, and how can you not living here, and having a 14-year-old kid, my daughter Ava, she is so spoiled. I mean, she goes whenever she wants, practice with us, of course. And she's gone, a gazillion times. Marvel Island, she's like bored with it already.
She doesn't want to see your art anymore.
Yeah. Just we have to find the signatures again, But it's fun. We really enjoy going, and not only the amusement parks, but at Disney, the world-class restaurants and hotels and great restaurants at Universal, and it's you don't run out of things to do down here,
No, that's why both my daughters are going to college down here now, but we always knew we were going to end up here, because I love being able to have a good time at parks. Because up in Ohio we had Cedar Point. We used to have another park that was literally like 30 minutes away, called Geauga Lake. So for us, it was fantastic growing up, and I missed that. So yeah.
And we need to get our picture on the Hulk roller coaster.
We have to work that out.
At some point, we have to work that out.
If it doesn't happen during
clasping, we have to be, intertwined fingers with our hands up, right?
Exactly. and that goes back to the whole party, kind of thing that we want. We want people, we want people to know that you're going to have a great time when you come to OAX, and that's part of it. So yeah, no, that picture of you and I is going to be part of the main marketing push for OAX too.
The main marketing tool.
You will not get at any other show in any other country, state, etc.
That is the real Adam. That is the real Adam Kubert experience. Going to the park.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to work something out, definitely. But yeah, you and I have to, one way or another, it's going to happen. So yeah, I can definitely just looking at my list here. I'm pretty sure we're either at sold out, or there might be just that one space left. But I'm not going to try to read them all while I'm looking at it. But Adam, again, thank you for being a part of the first show. It really means a lot to have your support in many different ways. Just
my pleasure. I appreciate the ask. I appreciate the ask, and I so look forward to the show. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome. It will be. So I'll be in touch, and have a great Christmas and New Year's. I assume you stay down here.
Thanks. Yeah. We're gonna hang out down here. Yep. And you too. I know you're traveling, and I think it's a wonderful thing to see family and stuff. So you enjoy yourself.
I will do that. All right. Have a wonderful night, and we'll talk again soon, Adam. All right. No, Adam's. I'm so grateful to have Adam be a part of this. He gave me the confidence early on, to know that we might actually be able to pull this thing off and make it into something cool. And so anyways, yes. So I think that is kind of the end of the OAX portion of things tonight. I hope I saw Alberto came in late, and Alberto. Like I said, I think there might. I'm not counting them. I know that. But here was just the examples on what he was doing for the show. For those of you who weren't here when I was showing the slides, you get the artwork on a 5x7 board. You get his book, you get some signatures, and you get to hang out with him for about 50 minutes in his gallery and Wolvie Fans Gallery, where he'll be showing off some of the artwork that he's been doing recently. Those oversized covers that, did we show one of those pieces off when he was here at the house? I don't think so. But all of his cover work is done on like 16 by 20 or 20 by 30 these days, because he likes working large, and they reproduce well when they get shrunk down. So these things are just ridiculous when you see them in person. And I think we're going to have 8 or 10 of those in the gallery, and he'll probably have a few behind the table with him as well. And then, it's good. Trust me, I hope to be a fly on the wall and be able to watch it and hang out at least for a part of his talk, because I had such a good time with him when he was here at my house last February. So I guarantee anybody who gets to do that with him is going to enjoy themselves. So, so let's see here. What else I got? I got a couple videos here to show, just some clips. I got a weekly flip from Hoarder's Hide. Scott sent one over, and so I should probably just jump right into that, so you can get that, and I can actually run and get myself another Zevia since I am out. So I appreciate Scott doing this. We haven't had a weekly flip in, gosh, it feels like 2 or 3 months. So we definitely enjoy getting these. So for those of you who have thought about doing a weekly flip, do one. Email me at bill@comicartfans.com, and I will definitely give you my pointers on what to do. And then you just send me the files on a shared drive somewhere, and I edit it together. But on this one, Scott did all the editing outside of the intro and the outro, so he made it really easy for me. But here is Scott's weekly flip.
Hey everyone, Scott Brown here, better known on the calf galleries as Hoarder's Hide, same on YouTube and Instagram. And today I'm going to do a portfolio flip for you, my very first. So let's jump right into it. As you can tell by our first image, we're going to have some bunny masks. Warning right up front, this is going to be 98% bunny mask and 98% Andrea Moody. So if you're not a fan of either of those, you can tune out. Here we have a unpublished cover. I believe this was originally intended for the trade paperback, but that didn't happen. On the left is another unpublished cover. Just a colorized version that Andre did. And Aftershock chose not to use. On the right is the published cover for issue 1. You're going to see a lot of layouts and the accompanying published page. I was fortunate enough to get several of those companion pieces. And this is a page that sent me down the literal rabbit hole. The chipping of the teeth. I love his layouts. I mean, they're better than a lot of people's finished products. Page 5 from issue 1. This, 16 panel page is pretty amazing. And we've got another panel showing the chipping of the teeth. On the left here we have a variant cover for issue 1. I believe it was a Baltimore Comic Con cover, possibly. Whatever it was a low print run. I haven't been able to find the book, but I did get the original cover. On the right is the published cover to issue 2. Then we have page 7 from issue 2. For the first time she referred to herself as Bunny Mask. The mask variant cover for issue 2, another published cover. And then on the right is issue 3. Page 8 from issue 3. This was the first time the bunny did a tooth reading. So I thought that was a good page to have. Page 23, again, another tooth reading of the hounds. And then this was page 5, again from issue 3. I was only able to get the layouts for this page. And then on the right we have the cover to issue 4. Page 24 from issue 4. And the only reason I really picked this page up is because it was the last page of the volume. So I have bookend, page 1 of issue 1 and page 24 of issue 4. On the right is the cover to the Free Comic Book Day Bunny Mask Tales. I was able to pick up Andrea's whole portion from that offering. So we have page 1. Page 2, another of his 16 panel layouts. Page 3. I just loved how this lit panel offsets the whole page. Page 4. And finally, page 5. Next we have, these were a couple more recent pickups, I believe. This on the left is the Game Changer variant for issue 1 from the first series. And then on the right is the Mask variant for issue 1. This is probably the only non-Moody piece. Mike Ruth cover variant for issue 1 of the second volume. Then we have on the right page 17 from issue 1 of volume 2. Page 18 and page 20, all 3 layouts. This was the most recent cover I was able to acquire from Moody. It's the last one he let go. The cover to issue 1 from the second volume. And then on the right is issue 2 of the second volume. Then issue 3 and 4. So I didn't actually get any interiors from them, from those issues. Couple of random sketches. Moody threw in for me a bunny mask and a Maniac of New York. I told you it wasn't all bunny mask. And then the a cover that Moody did for a small trade, sort of a fanzine featuring Bunny and Harry. And then I think this may be the last page. This was a cover concept piece that Moody did for a Hellboy project that just never took place. A Stapled Spine, by the way, was the name of the publication that this Bunny Maniac piece is from. And that's well, maybe not, maybe a lot. Last Moody piece. This is from Port of Earth. Forgot that was even in there. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the look at Bunny Mask and Andrea Moody's artwork. Maybe I'll do another one, maybe not. I really don't like portfolios anymore.
You know, but the fun thing about those Itoyas like that, when you have like gaps, is that you never know what's at the back of those portfolios. Because I think probably all of us have gone through that, right? Where sometimes it's easier just to slide something in the back of the portfolio, and then a year later you're going through it, and you're like, it's like finding new art in your home, because there's an extra page or two stuffed in the back of one. It's happened a few times. Sorry, Jason, I have no control over Kazra, so if he's being mean, just tough it out, man. I don't know what to tell you. So I was going to do what did I have for us? I had the Page I Love with Ryan Sook, but I'm gonna I got a few other things I got to take care of, so I'm gonna bypass that for the night. I did put a link down in the chat, and I thought I had a window open, but I guess I don't, which is unfortunate. A guy named Daniel Clavijo, or Clavijo, it's probably Clavijo, because he is trying to get this Lego set going. Oh, wait, actually, I do have it. Shoot, I do have it just in a different tab. Here, let me show you. If you're a fan of Legos and you're a fan of Peanuts, I would. There's a link in the chat. You can go over there. You gotta, if you vote for it. He's trying to get these essentially scenes from Peanut strips kind of converted into to Legos, and it's like something you have to vote on. So if you're a fan of Legos and you're a fan of Charles Schulz Peanuts, then I would encourage you to just go over there and like cast a vote, because it needs like 10,000 before it can actually be considered by Lego to actually become a Lego set. But I thought it was cool. I mean, just another way to appreciate the medium, right? And so I think that there's just different sets, but there was the idea that you can kind of like throw them together and do different things. But it's related to comic art, and Daniel's actually going to be at OAX too. So maybe by the time he gets there, he can. I don't know if there's a time limit on this, but he's got about 8,000 more votes to go to get to actual consideration by Lego. But maybe we should talk to Anthony Snyder's son, who's the Lego master. Should get him to throw in a few votes. Oh, Carl's collection. There we go. Yeah, exactly. So I think that I've read about other groups that have done that and actually gotten Lego to produce a set. So there you go. See, I promised to do it and I did it. 171 days left. See, I wasn't even paying attention there. You're right. It does say 100. That's a long time. Well, then you should definitely make it to 10,000 by that time. Will he exhibit his Lego prototypes? I do not know. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know where Daniel's based out of, so I don't know if he'd be traveling with those or not. It's 10,000 to get to the review stage. See, Mikhail is up on his Legos. Voltron was tied up for years, so this could be a lengthy, long process. But there you have it. It's out there, and the link to get over to Lego site is in the show description on YouTube. Facebook didn't let me put it in there since they don't let you edit your description like 2 hours before the show. So why don't I'm going to bring in my guest selector here tonight. If you guys know him, he's in the chat quite often, and it's Mr. Matt Kennedy. Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain. I'm going to Ohio tomorrow. I guess that's something I could complain about. It's going to be cold, going to be snowy, but yeah, other than that, life's treating me pretty well these days. So I never have a dull day anymore. How's Vegas treating you? It should be my question to you.
Vegas, as anybody who lives here can attest, is one of the strangest cities on the face of the earth. In that it's weird and it's super normal at the same time.
Yeah, even walking down the Strip. I mean, I've been to Vegas many times.
I don't spend a lot of time on the Strip, but I do occasionally. Whenever someone's in from out of town, inevitably you kind of have to. But there's so many other areas here that I'm aware that a lot of people don't know that much about. But it's a cool place.
Well, I forget. I definitely hope to make it to Vegas sometime in 2024. So I will let you and Jeff and Daryl know when I'm making the trip out, and if there's any other collectors there that we can do a dinner or something. I mean, there's plenty of places to have breakfast, lunch, or dinner there at any time of the day. So,
this might be the breakfast capital of North America.
I wouldn't argue with that. Back when Maureen and because we got married in Vegas, so in the first like 10 years of our marriage, I pretty much went out there like every year. So that was the late 90s and early 2000s. So I love it there. I just haven't gotten to go as often as I like. The last time we were there was it was like February, right before the pandemic hit. So February 2020, and haven't been back since. But we'll see. So I appreciate you getting to hang out. We're gonna do. You have to suffer through some of my usual stuff, but you can comment on on any of the stuff, because I've got heritage picks to look at.
Cool.
Part of the CAF update to go through before we get to look at the artwork. So we might as well just like jump into my heritage picks here. So let me switch screens and show what I've got here. Let's see. All right, it's better to get it over on that side. All right, so starting off with a piece by Yannick Paquette. This is inked by Carl Story. So it's a Terra Obscura cover. I just loved anything that came out of America's Best Comics, and the artists were all fantastic, really well suited for those for the stories, and I like this piece a lot. I thought it
very
was fun.
Unlike what most people probably know him for and the Why the Last Man stuff. I really like this page a lot.
Yeah, me too. I mean, anytime I see anything that came out of the America's Best books. I always have to take a better, stronger look at them. But yeah, this is it's a fun, interesting piece. Lots of characters on it. And it's funny. I look at this and I've seen a lot of Carl Story's inks and Adam Hughes and several others. And it's funny. I look at it now and I'm like, yeah, that does look like Carl Story inks. He's really, he does have a kind of a signature style in the way he inks anybody. So so nicely done. So there's that. Then I thought this was cool. A Nick Klein variant cover for X-Men, which I had no idea he even did a variant cover for X-Men at all. So you get, Wolverine and Savage Rogue in here, and and a Sabretooth, no less. So I like Nick's stuff, very painterly. I thought, the work that he's doing on Hulk is pretty cool. The work, I have one of his Thor pages. He's one of those artists that I'm sure would say, he wants to see his artwork printed or reprinted one day, in like an artist edition. So he's making it look complete, out the gate, right? It's going to look great all by itself, no colors, etc.
And I'm not a huge X-Men collector, but I had to have a Savage Land Rogue. So I do have a Savage Land Rogue in my personal collection.
You do? See, now I would not have guessed that.
Yeah.
Well, do I have one? I actually have one as well. So, but I'm an X-Men collector, so I should. So this is cool. We don't see Nick Klein stuff over on Heritage at all. I don't think I've ever featured anything by him over there. Then,
his collectors team tend to hang on to it. That's a kind of a good thing for him to see in his collector base, where he's got deep collectors that don't like to let his stuff go.
That's true. I am not going to ever sell the Thor page I got, because it's just awesome. Mm-hmm. So then I picked this Tales of Suspense 66 page, right? Yeah, Don Heck, Mike Esposito. I mean, I like it just kind of for the historical context, but I think it's pretty well drawn. I mean, we always kind of think Heck, maybe the last panel falls a little bit, but I mean, anytime you can get an early Iron Man page and get some action on it. It looks like he's fighting like a telephone pole with some kind of clamps on it, but still, it's a cool early page, man. I'd be happy to own this one. I don't think I have a single page from Don Heck in my collection.
When I lost a fight with a telephone pole, it's what made me leave Massachusetts to go to California. So I can completely identify with this page.
Yeah, Jerry Bourne points out the $10 price tag written on it. So there you have it. And it's, to me, it's kind of cool to see a page like this in the weekly auction too. I mean, it's not going to be a super expensive page, but it just shows you probably the embarrassment of riches that Heritage has out there that's consigned to them right now, that a page like this would make its way into a weekly auction. I just think it's a rare treat to get a Tales of Suspense page this early out there.
I hope that 10 is grease pen and not Sharpie, but it's hard to tell. No,
yeah,
that's a Sharpie.
Yeah, I was gonna say it certainly looks like a Sharpie.
Yeah.
How could they do that? Could at least put it on the back. Ah, well. I have a restorer that might be able to help somebody out with that if they want to get rid of it. Then next up, Dan DeCarlo. I mean, I picked some Dan DeCarlo stuff often, not often Humorama, not often with a woman without anything on, below the hips, but and I didn't even realize that when I first picked it. I just love DeCarlo's stuff, right? But I mean, it's just always really beautiful. And these pieces, the Humorama stuff, where he's putting in a lot of tonal work. I mean, it's just, I don't even care what the gag is. I mean, obviously we can only guess what the gag is. It's not too hard. But
would this have been after Bill Ward that Dan was doing this stuff, or before?
I would think, let's see, what's the year there? 1958. So before, right? Or I mean, when was Ward more?
Some Ward stuff goes back to, I think, to 54, but that means they're contemporaries.
Okay. And oddly enough, there's actually a really nice Bill Ward piece in the weekly auction too that I debated which one to pick, because they were both equally great. The Ward one had something, I can only imagine what was being said, but the woman she had just gotten her hair cut, and I'll leave it at that. So for those of you who like Bill Ward stuff, you should definitely check out that other one. But again, Dan DeCarlo, I mean, I love Dan's stuff. This is gorgeous. I mean,
and Dan used illustration board, and Bill used like Conti paper, which doesn't age well. It gets very, very brittle.
Definitely. Yeah, I saw Berkey once had like he had bought like a Bill Ward collection from somebody, and there must have been 300 pages in it, but they were all like on thin,
Chipped.
yeah, every single one of them, and so much so that I mean, there were so many nice pieces in there. I didn't buy any of them, even though I wanted. I'm like, okay, I have to get a Bill Ward example out of this, but the paper quality kept me from buying any of them, you know, which was disappointing because I was like, my gosh, this is like the mother lode of Bill Ward art.
So bidders beware. If you are unaware, you know, Bill Ward, the paper is really, really cheap, very brittle, and frequently has tape on the back of it too, which doesn't help. Sometimes used as a reinforcement in the days before acid-free tape was available. Yeah, the small pieces tend to be on cardboard, which those are a little bit easier.
Right. Let's see here. Next up, an early Joe Jusko. I thought, you know, I saw that. I'm like, well, that's cool. I mean, from 82. So this, what was it from? Epic Illustrated. So, you know, early in his career, certainly before he did the Marvel card art that I think like catapulted him into everybody's memory. But yeah, so it's cool. I don't know if it's is it a panel? It literally says it's from page 6 and 7. I mean, it certainly doesn't look like it's shaped like a DPS. I assumed when I saw it, it was probably just a panel from one of the pages, but
a text page that happened to have an illustration on it.
Yeah, you know what? That might be what it is. But yeah, a nice early Jusko. We should send it to him and then let him write about it on Facebook so we can get the scoop on it. Joe's
that little beastie on the left there. Little.
I know. I saw that too. I'm like, what is that like?
Wolverton-ish.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's very true. Or one of those Wally Wood creatures or something too. Yeah, it's funny. But there you go. We don't see too many early Jusko pieces out there. Then here's an imminent piece. I just love the composition on this. I mean, you can do battle scenes between two characters, even on a splash page, in many, many different ways. But I just thought the construction here with Thor kind of flying in there was just really well done. I just think the composition on this page is fantastic. I've always liked Stewart's work. Never owned anything by him, but yeah, this is a solid page. I'd be happy to have in my collection.
What's that going for now?
Only $160.
His stuff generally doesn't achieve the prices that you might expect, considering how well regarded Next Wave has been, and certainly his Iron Man run. And something like this, where if you're a Thor collector, how many chances do you have at getting a really nice splash page from Stu Immonen?
I completely agree. I might have to throw a bid or two on this one then. No, but it's really nice, and it's Scott Koblish inks on it too. So very good. And then Matthias Bergara. This was a variant cover too. Death of Doctor Strange, X-Men Black Knight. So I have no idea what the title is all about, but I think we all love his work on the channel, right? I mean, it's just very interesting and fun. I love how like the sword is like, you know, cutting into the space here. It just kind of like, it just creates a lot of interesting shapes, the way he's handling, blocking out the colors and the tones on this piece. So it's just a really nice piece. And again, what's this at? See, a 170. So it's early on, but you know, to get a published cover by him would be sweet. I'd be happy to have this one. Yeah. Let's see. Now I'm starting to forget. Oh, then I picked this. You know, everybody loves Art Germ stuff, and I just thought this was kind of a nice piece, cute that you know, shouldn't go for a whole lot of money, but I think, you know, many collectors want to have a representative piece by him. Usually the good ones go for a couple $1,000s, but this one I would think might stay under that. It's just a really, really good piece. If you like Kamala Khan, this would be a nice one to have. Then this other piece, I picked this one because of the layout. We always talk about, you know, composition and flow, and I just thought, you know, this was a really fun piece. It's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle story, something Donatello and, you know, and whatnot. But I just love, like, you know, they've taken the landscape and used that as the way to kind of structure the narrative and, you know, break things up and bring the characters together down from top to bottom. I'd like to see somebody do something like this, you know, in a spandex superhero thing, rather than having to look at it as a cartoon or, you know, something that's a bit more cartoonish, I guess, and doing it here, because this is really well executed. And the artist is Garrett Ho. I've never heard of them before, but I mean, this is a really intelligent piece. I like it a lot.
There's a lot of different Mad Magazine eras in that for sure. I mean, there's a little bit of Aragonis, there's a little bit of Don Martin.
Yeah.
And that layout, you might say, you know, Jaffe, you know, like that's the type of thing that Jaffe might throw into a thing.
Sure.
So it's cool to see for sure. And it's funny, I haven't seen a cartoony Turtles in such a long time. You know, like the recent run, which has been excellent, is very, very serious. Seen some Kevin Eastman stuff coming up for auctions lately from the old days, which has that kind of classic look that I think the recent film nailed really well. So it's interesting to see this. Like, this is sort of like a missing piece of the Turtles era in my own personal life.
Exactly. No, I love this a lot. I mean, I see some Seuss in here too. It's just fun. Yeah. It's a really fun
almost
piece.
Tex Avery in the
yeah
on the bottom.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. That's why when I first saw it, I had to go read the title. I did not think Ninja Turtles in this at all when I was looking at this. I thought, oh my gosh, this must be like, is this like something from the Cartoon Network or whatnot? But yeah, really, really good piece. And it's at $3. There's no, it'll be a steal. It's a very, very nice piece. And then the final piece, this is a Sikowski piece, Frogman. I mean, number 7. I've seen the title before. This is it's a Dell book from 1963. I just think this thing is beautiful. I mean, top panel's great, but you know, this 2/3 splash is wonderful. The motion in the water, the fish. I mean, this is it. I love it. I would love to own this page. And look, it's $4. I mean, it should probably do. I don't know. I have no idea what Sikowski's work from this era goes for.
700, 1700. I mean, it could go for anything.
Yeah, but this is a great example. I mean, of his work. I mean, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
So that was really, and it was funny. It was one of the I always order by price when I'm trying to figure, okay, that stuff that's got a lot of bids on it is probably going to be some of the better stuff. And I had gotten to the bottom of like page 1. I'm like, all right, I'll just take a look what's on page 2. And this was like the first piece on page 2. So I was glad I did. So it could get overlooked.
The type of stuff that definitely influenced Morrison for his Sea Guy comic book. And it even has the weirdness, of Morrison's Sea Guy book. So, and I wonder how big that page is. It kind of looks like an oversized board.
Let's see. 12 by 18.
Oh, standard.
Kind of. Little, yeah. Close to DC size. But yeah, no, I mean, again, this is a great piece. Sikowski for me is somebody that I would never really buy because he's a DC artist, and that's not my stuff, but I would love to own this piece. Really, really good example. So there you go. And like I said, there was actually some really was there another Dan DeCarlo? I think there might have been a second Dan DeCarlo over there too. So definitely worth checking out, everybody. Let's see. All right, so now I've got Nick Berrucci's EXP to show off, and I didn't get a chance to preview it myself, so this will be my first watch of it as well. So let's take a look at what Nick will have on his show. Oh wait, I know what it is. It's John Romita Jr. I think he even has I couldn't find the link to his show because I'm always used to a certain graphic, and he's got a totally different graphic for this special show that he's doing tomorrow at 7 o'clock on the channel here. So let's go ahead and play this.
Everybody, this Friday, December 22nd, right before Christmas. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and I better stop. Amy's shaking her head, probably for 2 reasons. I can't sing, and copyright strike, so I'm not going to do that anymore. All right, so we will have a joyous time of year. Green Lantern 80th anniversary Kilowog by one of my favorite artists, Fernando Pasarin. Patrick Birkencotter, not Birkencotter. I can't believe I can't remember his name. Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, number 4, page 6. Hulk getting demolished. Dr. Doom, Masters of Evil. Check it out. So gorgeous. Then we've got Dale Eaglesham. Look it out. Red Hulk. This is beautiful. All right. Then, speaking of Fernando Pasarin, and let's see if I can put this in right. check out this Suicide Squad double page spread and come up to the evil Mixoplex from Where is the Man of Tomorrow, Superman by Alan Moore. That is so awesome, plus all the other villains. Then I have a JLA 200 by George Perez, and I seem to think this was inked by Brett Beating, but I can't remember. Then we have a Hulk, Todd McFarlane. This is awesome with the leader. Check it out. Then we have Dale Eaglesham, Fantastic Four 577. Wait till you see the price on this. Dead Man Dead Again. Oh my God! Wait till you see the price on this. That's Dale Eaglesham as well. One more Fernando Pasarin. All the Hawkmans through the years, all in one place. Leonard Kirk. Check it out. This Bloodhound, maybe I'll make that under $50. We will have quite a few pieces at $50 or less. Leonard Kirk, Captain Britain, number 3, page 18. This will be at an incredible price. Then we'll say Robson Roca, 30, Aquaman 35, page 18. Aquaman 35, page 19. Plus, we're going to have this Tony Daniel Batman page, inked by Danny Mickey. Then we got a little bit more Fernando Pasarin, Aquaman, and then we have Dwayne Turner. I thought I only had one Dwayne Turner page. I found another. But wait, there's more. Oh my God. We will be talking about art that I got that, whoa, I'm losing my balance. That's from singing terribly. Art that I picked up for my own collection. And I will have these 3 John Romita Jr. Scott Hanna pieces. Check it out. This will be sold as a set. This was for a foreign edition, and I hope I can find it one day. One day being before Friday. Magneto number 2 John Romita Jr. Pure Pencils. Fantastic Four 60th anniversary. Check it out. And then Amazing Spider-Man 18 cover. These are going to be really, relatively speaking, affordable. These are mine, not for sale. Amazing Spider-Man 17 by John Romita Jr. in homage with Scott Hanna in homage to John Romita Sr. Spider-Man 50. And check out this Thor 25 cover by John Romita Jr. inked by Klaus Janson. These 2 are not for sale. Plus, we're going to have commission cover art. I got to find some Captain America art for Alberto. Yes, you're being profiled, buddy, but I love you. All right, so Friday, December 22nd, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, only on the original art experience. Hit that thumbs up and share. Sharing is caring. See you guys Friday.
Yes, indeed. Sharing is caring. Thank you.
How
Nick.
can you just not love Nick? I mean, and oh my God, a McFarlane Hulk title page. I mean, that is not something you see every day.
Yeah, Nick's going to be doing our co-hosting our art auction too with Jimmy Palmiotti.
Yes,
that's going to be fun. He's I think they'll make a great pair. We'll see. And they look alike too.
They'll have to do some twinning, so
exactly. All right, so let's dive into the CAF update here. Let's see how are things. This is from last week, so I think it's the 11th through the 17th. We've got dealers actually had a good week. They had 461,000 in sales compared to 269,000 the week before. So and for whatever reason, panel page, Glenn was busy. He had 12 sales that totaled $235,000. So I guess we're going to find out what was selling over there. Felix came in second. He had 51 sales, 135,000. So the 2 of them combined for 370,000. So everybody else pales in comparison. Anthony didn't. He had 28. Albert had 16, and Ramita Man and Tatiana had just under 12. So top 6 sales from dealers last week. Let's see here. All right. Well, I guess maybe this was the piece. This one was Jack Kirby FF31 Splash. The asking price on this one from Glenn was $165,000. So that explains it. It was just one piece that really skewed the figures. So that's pretty early out there at 165 asking. So then next up we have the Nick Klein. That was part of Felix's drop, of course. This was the cover going for $25,000. Love it. I mean, it's fantastic. Back to Nick Klein. And then you get this one too. This was the DPS, which I think was the actual first appearance of the character. This one went for $20,000. The Hulk really looks in pain there. Then, I mean, who doesn't love George Perez when he draws Black Widow, right? This is from Marvel Fan for 11. This one was sold by Glenn as well. $14,000 asking price on that one. This one was sold by Albert. And it says, I'll Be Damned Conan was the title that he wrote on it. And this one sold for $13,500. And bringing up the rear, this is another one from Glenn. This is Bob Brown, Klaus Janson, Daredevil 131 splash that went for a $12,000 asking price. I feel like we saw that one in the last year, or maybe, I don't know. I don't
That
know what.
extended rib cage looks familiar.
Yeah, there's something about it. I feel like it was a heritage sale maybe 12 months ago or something like that. I don't know why, but at any rate, so that's that is your dealer updates. On auctions did really well too, and there's one piece that skewed the whole thing. $686,000 in sales between eBay and Heritage Weekly last week, which of course is ridiculous because the average is around 330. A week before that was 335. So let's take a look at the top 3 sales from eBay and then Heritage here. First up, we have this Bill Sienkiewicz Moon Knight piece. And, I didn't check to see if a best offer was done on this one because I would think typically it would. This one went for $5,999. So I think a best offer had to have been done on this. So those are usually like around half that, unless this was published. But no, it says it's a sketch. Then this too, I mean, this probably was a best offer. 5,000 seems like a lot, even though it's Jim Lee. And it's a Raven sketch. Well, I guess it could have went for that. Those it was done during the pandemic, right? So that might actually be legit. 5,000 on that one. And then a Gary Frank Red Sonja cover. This one is definitely the right price at $3,807. No best offer on that one. Then a Magic the Gathering card art piece went for $350,000. Therese Nielsen. Apparently, this is some really important card. I didn't read the description, but it said something that made it sound like it was super sought after as a card. So that whoever bought it really wanted it. And then we featured this piece in the next. This is Dave Cockrum, like a placard that he painted at a show for himself. $9,000 is what it went for. And then this Paul Gulacy Master of Kung Fu splash that's just all kinds of awesome went for $7,800. But yeah, it shows you the the Magic the Gathering artwork market is really pretty strong, at least on those pieces like that, where the card is what's the thing that drives the price on the piece, which is what I think drives a lot of our nostalgia and things too. If it's a really important story or whatnot, you're always going to overpay for it. So card art has that same cachet, I guess, to
I remember reading someplace that the Farmer Bro, the guy that ended up going to jail for a Ponzi scheme after raising the price on a whole bunch of prescription drugs that used to be very affordable. He was a massive collector of Magic the Gathering art, and there were at least 3 other kind of pharmacy executives that, for whatever reason, also collected Magic the Gathering card art. So maybe there was a triangulated purchase attempt between a couple of these guys. Who knows?
Well, I mean, you can't do it from prison, right? But
he's out. He's out now.
Oh, he's out. Well, he's back.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe he's back on the streets. But I've seen, it's one of the like say with Jim Lee art, it goes really high. Modern painted pieces by a couple artists that do that work for Magic the Gathering go for really, really high prices. You wouldn't think like a painting would go for $30,000, but they will, or brand new. So anyways,
a few of those guys died young too. Like some of the Magic card artists died young.
Interesting. All right, well, there you have it. So that one piece though skewed everything. You take that one out, we were at 686, so it would have been around 336. So it would have been perfectly normal if you remove that one sale out of the auction. So That's how it goes. We would have been in the same boat with the dealers, right? You take that one piece out of there too. So, all right, we're going to move into our picks for the week, and the first piece we're going to show, Matt, actually came from the sketchbook. So theoretically, it's a piece that I think has been on CAF for a while, but it was new to the site because it was added to the sketchbook, and it's totally worth talking about because it's a great piece of art in a great collector's collection. So let's see here. Let me get this thing set up here.
And I didn't pay attention to any of the of who owned the galleries at all when I selected these, so this will be new to me discovering it as well.
Here, I'm getting this thing sized a little bit better. There we go. So Brian Norton is the owner of this piece, and I mean, it's really beautiful. I mean, it's and I wish I could click on it because I'm sure Brian has a huge scan in his CAF gallery. But Ricardo Latina is the artist,
who I'd never heard of, but he does a mean Brian Bolland. And I just dig this piece, all the different types of birds. He didn't just really stick with owls. And it just kind of, I mean, look at it. It's beautiful.
Oh, totally. I mean, yeah. And yeah, you can definitely think about Brian when you look at a piece like this, because, you know, those Animal Man covers, there's a few of them out there where he just went to town on you know, insects and things. And yeah, no, very, very, very amazing. And Brian's got a good eye. You know, he's got a really nice collection, and yeah, this is a good pick. The penguin hasn't looked more devious, and you know, and the pistol helps, but the look on his face, I mean, those wavy lines on his vest, yeah, this is a really, really well done piece.
Reminiscent of the Emperor Penguin character that was in the, I think, the Snyder run on Detective.
Mm-hmm.
That was big spec for the direction that the Penguin TV show might be going in. That character, not necessarily the depiction.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually looking forward to that TV show. Mm-hmm. Okay, Marcus says who? It's Ricardo Latina. At any rate, yes. Okay, next up, what do we got? Oh, this is in Jeffrey Moy's CAF gallery.
I just think this is adorable. And so I looked up, I was unfamiliar with Mike Mayhack as well, and actually reached out and I was like, hey, is your commission list open? He's like, nope. So you can only get his pieces when he does his, he puts out a list annually in his, what do you call it? The kind of subscription art support
Patreon?
thing. Yes. And the pieces generally go really, really quickly. It's also just Streaky the Super Cat. Like anytime you can see Streaky the Super Cat in a drawing is sort of cause for celebration. Don't know what that frog is, but I just really love this. I kind of like the wrestling shoe motif. It's like a very contemporary depiction of Supergirl. Not the type of thing that I usually am drawn to, but this just really came together for me.
Yeah, no, it's a really nice piece. I was not familiar with the artist either, but Jeff picks up some pretty interesting stuff. I mean, I'm sure it's just because, you know, he's in the art circles already, so he probably you know, knows this artist from something else. But yeah, I think it's a really, really, really nice piece, and I think it's cool that some of the artists use Patreon in that way. You know, as a, you know, that really get involved with it. You know, like we talked with Adam and Allison, and, you know, they kind of use it a little bit more loosely, I think, but you know, try to create unique content for it. But I think it's awesome when the artists really engage, because Dan Brereton is he has a Patreon, and it sounds like he does regular you know, like Zoom meetups where he just sits and talks, and people love hanging out with him. I mean, I think Patreon's a great asset to the creative community as a way to reach their audience and make a few dollars, you know, at the same time.
That little 8 in the right hand side is actually the number of the drawings that he did for a Battober drop, and this was the 8th piece. So it's referenced in the title. So I imagine that all the pieces had the number and kind of let you know. It's kind of a demonic thing to number things in a way that, you know, one collector might be like, I need all of these, you know. I could see somebody who's going to become a huge Mike Mayhack collector is going to want to piece together, I want all the Battober drawings from 2023. So good commercial instincts there, Mike.
That's funny. I was wondering about the 08 too. You know, I was thinking, well, that was at the year, but then I see the 23 right next to it, so you know it's not that. That's funny. Marcus says Samney does it too. I think you're right. That's true.
Mhm.
So yeah, very smart. Then a Russ Heath, Our Army at War. And everybody knows that one day I will own a Russ Heath army page because I just love his stuff.
There were 2 Russ Heath pages, and honestly, I could have picked either one of them, but this is just a massive brawl. And it's sort of unlike the combat type of panel layout that you would have seen in the era. But I mean, this would be innovative now. You've got, you know, the Our Army at War dudes taking on the Africa Corps and just laying in some kick-ass. It's just like, if you read this, it's kind of a fascinating conversation between, you know, 2 of the soldiers who are taking on like a room full of dudes. I mean, I could see this having an influence on, you know, on Dan for Do a Power Bomb. Like, it's just like really good combat layout.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
funny.
it's Russ Heath, you know, and I got to know Russ Heath a little bit before he passed, and he was a really, really interesting guy. Lived at the Playboy Mansion for a couple of years. He had a fascinating life.
Yeah, no, this is a nice, very nice page. And it's funny, I just read Do a Power Bomb thanks to Marcus, because he sent that to me as a Christmas gift. And yeah, I can see it. You're right. I mean, it's crazy, over the top action.
Yep.
Oh, this is really, really, really nice. Whose collection was this? Oh, Doc R. Cool. Good pick. Then now we have a Buckingham Shadow of the Bat piece.
Yeah. So if you look at this whole design is really reminiscent of Bocello's Shade the Changing Man. It's a few years later, but it's interesting because there's a page from A Christmas Story that was in Shade that I owned a long time ago and sold to Anthony years ago. They had this beautiful overlay, and Chris had used like Dover books to do the frame motif, and this looks like it's actually drawn straight on it. But also, you know, Mark Buckingham ended up inking a lot of issues of Shade much later in the run. And so to see this as a Shadow of the Bat comic, and then just like, I love the individual panels too. It's stuff that you don't usually see in American comics. It has a really, really European, really fumetti kind of you know, choice in what it's choosing to show with the POV, and a little bit like Manara. So it's just like Buckingham's an incredibly versatile guy. His style has changed so much over the years, from, you know, the stuff he was doing in the UK in 2000 AD and then in Warrior Magazine, being mainly an inker when he first came to the States on those Vertigo titles, and then coming into his own. And now, of course, really well, probably mostly known for Fables. And this is very different from the Fables work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's I've always loved his style, and he does some really great convention sketches too. If you ever get the opportunity to have him do something for you at a show, you should definitely take him up on it, because his pencil work is gorgeous.
He was in the Temple of Art exhibition that I curated at La Luz de Jesus, maybe back in 2010, with a great group of people, including Bill Sienkiewicz and David Mack and Kent Williams, and a lot of people that would be known that are both in fine art and in sequential art. And I don't think he made it out. I think he was in England. He didn't make it for the actual show. But every artist had a portrait that was taken by the same photographer, and they did their own style on their own portrait. And his piece was really interesting. It was one of the only things that had like 3-dimensional things kind of glued onto it as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think I don't think I've ever seen him at a show, but I know he's been to Baltimore a few times in the last few years, so it makes sense. I mean, that would be probably an easier trip for him to do. But yeah, no, a good pick. And I think the like on that one. It's Felix Schaefer's Calf Gallery. Then yeah, this is a good one. Mickey's been posting some really nice stuff of late. This is Colleen Duran, of course, but wow, such a delicate piece. I mean, you know, you could almost look at it and say, you know, you see a little bit of Barry Windsor Smith in there, but it's all Colleen. You know, it's so delicate. It's beautiful.
And it was sort of that, you know, Barry Windsor Smithness that really drew me to it. But you're right, like really the expression on Conan's face is the only thing that really, and the color palette is the only thing that really looks a little Windsor Smithish. Like her delicateness, even with the snake, You know, obviously with the hair is something you would never really see. And Smith had just a different take on these things.
Mhm.
And I mean, I've been following her work for ages, and it just never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, it's very masterful. I mean, this is just so well done piece. Everything about it, it's so fluid. I mean, yeah, gosh, and I too love her work. I mean, she's just amazing. And I know.
Now, I do want to cuss out Titan, the publisher, because if you look at the cover, none of the creators' names are on that cover. It just has the title, and it doesn't say anybody who's associated with it.
Oh, that sucks.
And it's not a virgin cover because the title's on it. So got to cuss out Titan for that.
Yeah,
and this was a variant. This was I think a 1 in 500 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
Dang. Yeah, it's yeah, Antoine mentions P. Craig Russell. Yeah, sure.
Yep.
And definitely. And pre-Raphaelite. Yeah, that is the era that certainly inspired this, that's for sure. That's gorgeous. Well, that is a very good pick. So Mickey, yeah, Mickey just keeps rolling out the hits. He's got such a good eye, you know, for stuff. So yeah, no, well done, Mickey. And then now we have a Chris Ware piece. This, you know, I saw this one right away. Where's on my keyword set. I mean, I love his stuff. There's not enough of it on CAF, and I think the owner also posted even on like a couple Facebook groups too. So I saw it out there as well. So it's just awesome.
I owned a Ware page years ago that I had to let go when it hit a number that I couldn't believe it hit. But what I love about Chris Ware is that there's kind of this line that runs from Winsor McKay straight into his work, but it's got this kind of Orwellian, like super paranoid, super claustrophobic element to it. And this is a guy that's at the hospital waiting for, I think, his little sister to be born. And it's kind of a fascinating story within the Acme Novelty Library. So while it has all those elements that you associate with Chris, boxes within boxes within boxes, you know, it's also got that strange kind of close up of, you know, the painting that's kind of inset that looks like it's maybe a calendar or an art print on the hospital wall, which is a different style than his style. So, you know, this is sort of a unicorn among unicorns.
Yeah, really well done. I think this was in Scott Eater's collection prior to this, but
yeah, he just had a lot of Chris Ware, and I sold mine to Scott. So
he did. Okay.
Yeah.
Scott's yeah. I envy a lot of the pieces that have passed through Scott's hands one way or another in his personal collection or things that he's sold, because yeah, you just don't see these kinds of things out in the market too often. And Scott, man, he's amazing. Yeah. So congrats. This is what was the collector's name? I forget. Dries de Wolf from Belgium. Fantastic, and wrote a fair amount in there too. So I'll have to go back and read the description. I'm sure this was probably on their want list for a very long time.
Yeah.
Then
those pieces aren't cheap, that's for sure.
No, not at all. So now we have a Perez. This is a JLA Avengers issue 4, kind of a talking head page, but really nice nonetheless.
Looks like film strips to me, which is why I chose it. But it also has that kind of shot list quality to it. Like there's a lot of angles in here you just never see in superhero comics. You know, like that weird bottom panel, you see someone's foot and then you see who's beneath them. And then there's a through line in the bottom panel next to it where someone's walking downstairs. It's just the strangest. There's also, from a design point of view, you can see this line that goes from the stairs into the kind of curve of what looks like perhaps Cap's shield or something that makes this kind of behind the central image shape and layout, which is really masterful. This is certainly not peak Perez, but it's just so beautifully laid out. I had to pick it.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's funny. I didn't notice the film strip kind of feel there, but now it's you just can't not see that. But yeah, it's really it's well done, and he's kind of woven these three strips together where you get a bit of Thor here, then get him over there. I mean, yeah, Perez was definitely really focused on storytelling when he did this page for sure. And who wouldn't like to own a JLA Avengers page? I mean, I'd be happy to have one in my collection. So congrats to who was the owner on this one? Oh, Kit Walker. All right, fantastic. Then okay, this is a page from Batgirls 1 and Johnny McCloskey's calf gallery.
I love Batgirl. Yeah, I mean, it's no secret my favorite character of all time is Robin, and specifically Dick Grayson's Robin, because to me, we're all Robin. None of us have superpowers. We're all coming out of the shadow of a more prominent father figure to become our own man. And this sort of, reveals my punk rock leanings. There's something kind of Jim Mafood about this. There's something kind of more underground comic necessarily than superhero comic. And it's just cool. Like I don't know this particular run, but I just dig it. And that, that top panel could be something out of the Blues Brothers movie, it's
yeah.
It's super busy all the way around, except this artist clearly knows where to leave enough white to have your central image still have impact without completely losing it. Just
I thought that was really interesting right here, that where they chose to just stop drawing the buildings here and leave all of that white. That's a really smart choice, because it would feel very different if he kind of completed these buildings here. So no, it's a really well executed page. I love the fact that there's no real border lines either. I don't know how they printed it, but yeah, I mean, look, that's an inset panel with no outline on it. Same here. I mean, that's cool. That's really, really interesting.
Almost a Sienkiewicz Warlock type look, to the bottom of this. It's just it's really frenetic. But it's also fun, and those are two things that don't usually happen at the same time. Jorge Corona, gonna keep an eye on this artist. I wasn't totally familiar, but really, really dig it. I've been collecting a lot of the artists from Spain, and so this kind of makes sense to is something that would totally fall within the wheelhouse of my collection.
Yeah, very nice. I like this a lot. Johnny gets some good stuff. Did well there. Then we've got this is posted by Raj Patel. This is in the sketchbook too, so it could be an older piece, but it's okay because it's fantastic. I know we've not seen this one before. So this is Gucci. Okay, I wish I could click on it, but yeah. Tell me why you picked this one. Is it back to the punk rock thing?
Another punk rock thing. But this, I think, this drawing, and so if you're familiar with Andrea Cucci's work, it's hard to spot because there's so many different styles that the artist is really, really comfortable in. There's also, I mean, this is overtly punk rock, of course, because this character is a punk rock character. But I felt like it really captured the essence of the Across the Spider-Verse depiction of Spider-Punk, more so than the version that we've seen in the comic. And then it brings this kind of fine art and design element into it. It's multimedia. There's stuff that's the lettering, I think, has probably been either done on a separate piece and glued on, or taken from magazines, definitely made to look like it's taken from magazines. And that gives it kind of a Jamie Reed feel. Jamie was the artist behind all the Sex Pistols artwork in the 70s, had also worked in the adverts for Malcolm McLaren and Vivienne Westwood's shop called Sex, which became Vivienne Westwood. And in a year where, last couple of years, Vivienne's son destroyed a lot of the original Jamie Reed work as a kind of performance piece about the commercialization of punk rock. So anything that can pay tribute in an authentic way without kind of a sort of just rip off or homage. I mean, this really does capture the feel of the era, down to the engineer pants. So those pants are Balmain jeans, which I guess you could say is not exactly punk rock, but they're just really, really cool.
No, so it is a very interesting piece. I like it a lot. Yeah. Sorry, but yeah, Raj did rather well with this piece. So I'm glad he posted that. And I know that was one of his top pickups. And that was one of the things I was supposed to remind people about too. So I guess it's a good time. I remember James wanted me to remind everybody that the sketchbook for December does end on December 31st, everybody. And it's probably even another good time to remind everybody that, the best of, the submissions start after the first of the year, but you have to have your stuff added in the calendar year. So if you want to be, have any of your artworks in consideration for the best of 2023, it must be added to CAF in 2023. So you have until the 31st to get the artworks added, before we start the best of submission period around the 3rd or the 4th of January. So I'm glad you picked this out of the sketchbook, or I would have forgotten to tell everybody that. So we mentioned, somebody mentioned P. Craig Russell earlier when we were looking at that Colleen Durant piece, and now we have one here in Wally's CAF gallery.
I mean, you never see Russell's work, and no one ever sells it seemingly. But Elric is really beholden to me, to the point that, I grew up Catholic and I took Elric as my confirmation name. And so the bishop of the Catholic Church had to pronounce me Elric. And I got a big kick out of that and a chuckle in my leather vest at confirmation. But this is just gorgeous. And I mean, that central, it's a weird panel for Russell in that there's a design element that's only in one panel. It doesn't stretch to any of the rest of the page, which immediately draws the eye to that. And it's even shaped kind of like an eye. So you're drawn into that. And then you've got this kind of in the center panel next to it, it sort of pads out the action on the curve. And then you have a sword going across in another way, which is, of course, Stormbringer, and resting on this woman's shoulder, which creates another whole element that brings everything to a peak. And then in the middle, you've got that just beautiful face, which tells you everything in the story without there being a word balloon. I would love to own a Russell piece from any of the Elric comics. This is an absolutely just beautiful piece from a later Elric run. The Stormbringer comic, the Stormbringer series, I think, was probably the 4th series that got released. And it's interesting that the style is more refined. In the earliest comics with the Elric of Melniboné, Michael T. Gilbert and P. Craig Russell were teamed. And so that is a very different look. Sailors in the Sea of Fate is all Russell, and it's a little bit the color work in that, because it was early Baxter. I don't think they'd really kind of nailed down how to use color specifically correctly yet. And so I think it muddied a little bit of his pencils and inks. Mm-hmm. But this is amazing. And I'm sure this is 10 times better than the published page.
Right. No, and it is pretty cool seeing how he's tied a few of these together. Like you said, this panel over to here. It's really, really well done. I love P. Craig Russell's work. And Jason, yes, I did mention the sketchbook about 60 seconds ago. So you missed out, but I did. But yeah, this is fantastic. Really, really nice piece. And Wally did really well on this one. So if you haven't checked out Wallace Harrington's CAF gallery, look at this. He's celebrating his 19th anniversary on the site this month, right there. That's pretty awesome. Wow. Not too many people can say that. So no, very good picks, Matt.
I think my original account has been dormant for probably 18 years. And I can't remember the login to remove it. So I think the Panic Gallery, I think, was the first account that I have that's probably still exists, and none of that artwork is available. And yeah,
is it still out there? Maybe I should turn it off.
I think it's still there.
Or okay. Well, you send me a link to it. I can get you access to it, and you could either clean it out or if you want me just to remove it, I can do that too. If it is indeed out there. I came across the CAF gallery. It was like yesterday or the day before from somebody who hadn't logged in like 10 years, and I turned it off. Because they're out there, and I even think I was like, oh, I'll make a mental note to try to email them. Then I'm like, forget it. 10 years and you haven't, and because the last login date, was like 2013. I'm like, they haven't come back. They didn't email me to ask me for access. They're done. So, all right, here, let me go ahead and hide this. But it's funny, I have a guy doing some developer work for us right now. We're working on an app right now that I'm actually planning on debuting it to a certain degree at OAX to some people. It's going to be more of a just show them where we're at, because we started with the admin. I figure if you can, so many people want to be able to do stuff off their phone, as far as managing their CAF. And so I was like, you know what? If we just had an admin, we could add, remove, and do most of the stuff you want to do in the CAF gallery. That's like a good first step in as a project for this developer. But he was adding stuff, and it was adding he was just putting up like graphic numbers that had 1 through 4 on them, just the numbers on it. And one of the moderators picked it out, and I didn't even bother to look to see who it was. I was just like, somebody's screwing around on CAF. Okay, so I blocked their account, and I got an email from my developer this morning being like, I'm not sure what's wrong with CAF right now, but I can't do anything on it. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And then I was like, oh shit, all right. So screw it. But there you have it. That's we've been working on that for the last couple of months.
Safety first,
I know. I'm like, well, my moderator group, they were on it because it wasn't up there for very long, and I just had to laugh though. I made the guy give me a call. I'm like, please buzz me, and I'll walk you through what happened. Oh man. All right, so we'll take a look at my picks here. There is some crossover on them because I kind of picked mine independent of seeing your list. I know you had gotten it to me pretty early, but then I was preoccupied with a few OAX things early this week, so then I ended up realizing when I was pulling the mailing together, actually, I'm like, oh, we kind of did pick a few similar things. I think similar collectors here. So
it's so easy to pick 20 pieces, so and I let you know, I'm like, there's a few I was looking at. Now I'm so curious if you picked the ones I thought you would pick that I didn't pick because I thought you would pick them.
Yes. Well, the first one I actually used on Dueling Dealers the other day, and I saw it on in Dino's CAF gallery, and it's the season's very appropriate. And Ramita Senior treasury cover. I mean, these were always so freaking awesome to see, and I saw this and immediately, from it's like you had mentioned, typically I don't even look to see who owns it, but I was like really excited who got this one, and it was Dino, and I was like, oh man, it's the exact right person to own this beautiful piece of art. I mean, so historic. This is stuff I would have seen this cover at like my local drugstore, when they stacked everything up in the magazine aisle. And I just
those color yourself posters, which were about the same size. Yeah,
exactly. So this is just, I mean, it's beautiful, and it looks, I'm not sure how Ramita, did the work on the tree, because he could have scratched some of that out, or I don't know what his approach was on there, but it's so fun. And then everything else is just unmistakably Ramita Senior, the way he's handling the inking on all the characters here. So this is fun, appropriate for our last show before Christmas, and just wow, just so nice to see and to see it on CAF, because so often we know there's a lot of collectors out there with fantastic collections who choose not to share their stuff on CAF. And Dino's one of those people who have a top shelf collection, and he enjoys putting the work out there, and I appreciate that, because there's so much great artwork that we don't get to see, which is okay. Every collector can do what they want when they own the artwork, but I really appreciate having something like this on the site. And I don't think did I like it yet? No, I didn't. So let me get that on there at least. Then Bashara started a CAF gallery. I might just have to make him premium, because he probably doesn't know what that his art can be bigger scans and things if he were premium. But he's been posting so many really cool pieces. This was like the third Hellboy piece ever done, and I just thought it was so cool. And and again, it's nice having Bashara posted, because there you go, that's as big as it gets. This would have been nice as a larger scan to see, because yeah, I mean, is anything early from here? I mean, it doesn't even really look like Hellboy. At first when I saw it, if it wasn't for the BPRD logo, I would have been a little bit thrown. But
I wasn't sure when you sent over the image for the show, and then I ended up finding it to make a tile, and I was like, it looks like Mignola, but it kind of looks like the Larry Stroman era of X Factor.
I know, I thought the same thing. It was funny.
Yeah.
I thought Stroman when I was looking at it too, and it really does have that kind of feel to it. But but anyway, I mean, again, Bashar is one of those kind of collectors where you never really got to see his personal stuff before, unless you were friends with him and talked to him at shows. So the fact that he's decided to use CAF to show a few things, and I don't think he's posted too much, right? I bet if I look at his, let's see, well, he's got a few things in there, but 5. He has 5, and he's featured them all. So you get, I mean, but again, a great Miller cover. I think we talked about that one last
All
week.
killer, no filler.
Right. I mean, look at
and
that.
And there's Miller.
I know. And he's got a DD #1 page, by Everett, Ali Elias, one of my favorite all-time artists from that era.
Wow.
Cover. I mean, shoot. And a Marie Sever Marvel Superheroes cover. I mean, it's all killer, no filler. I'm gonna remember to use that one in the future. Thank you, Matt.
Sure.
So let's see here. Then this isn't, Lance has a lot of fun stuff in his CAF gallery. Usually it's done by Travis Terrest, but this is John Amore, who's with Next Comic Art, and I think John's, he did 3 pieces in the mystery sketch this time around, and they were all really well done pieces. I mean, I always thought he had kind of an interesting style, but now he's been doing these commission pieces that have a bit of story to them. I mean, I don't know why I'm kind of drawing a blank on the 3 mystery sketches, but I remember when we were looking at them, that was what I felt like he was putting in there. He was putting a little bit of story, because this is just, if somebody asked for a Wolverine commission, this is probably like one of the last things you would have thought you got. But
yeah, it's like if they asked for a Wolverine tarot card,
right,
it's like,
exactly.
Is it coins? Is it swords? There's a couple of ways to go with this. It's stylistically really interesting. I remember when I was looking at this, I looked at that boot and I'm like, is this all red? And I'm like, nah, all red wouldn't have done that fade out on the bottom. It's like with Lee Weeks kind of doing that fade out. So it's cool little mesh of styles. And like you say, to get a commission that's very narrative, in a single image is pretty great.
Yeah, agreed. And so that's something because I remember when I first saw John's work with, when Jiggy and I would do sales shows or whatever, it was more just focused on the character and not, so they were good, but now he's taking it to the next level here with these. So fantastic. I mean, it's probably always open for commissions over there too. So something to think about in the future. So this one, Man of Steel page, I'm not a big DC guy, but I just liked this one a lot, and partially because of all the, whatever this is gunfire, I don't know, but I just thought this was just a really well done page. And who was the artist? It was John Bogdanov, and Janky is the inks on this one. But I don't know, something about it. I mean, from the era, I didn't read these books at all, but I don't know, there's something about this page. It's partially the way it's inked. And I just thought the inking was done really well on it too. So, and
that steel, I believe, I guess I love that lettering.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is just a cool page all around. And who's Kafka? I didn't even bother to check. Oh, Carl. Okay, Sodergren. Okay, but again, this is a nice page. Really, really cool. See, Nick Perucci says nice, and he's a DC fan. So I guess I did good on this one, Nick. Shaq says Marcus. Sort of, well, you could say that, sure. Let's see here. So I get the like on that one. Then next up, this is David Marquez. This is in whose cap gallery is this now? Oh, Paul P, of course. This was just such a cool image. I mean, throwing Spidey's web. That's like, assuming this is on 11 by 17. That web is like 2 inches thick on here. I mean, it's just crazy. But I just thought this was, what was it? It's like this rotoscope feel to the building behind it.
Fisheye lens. And
fisheye lens kind of view. I just think it's cool. I mean,
the look on the baby's face is fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah, look at that free fall. And Peter Porker right there too. But this is all ink, but the shading in here is really well done. I mean, it's almost as if it was done digitally. It's so kind of smooth out there. I mean, it's just a really nice piece. So compositionally, it's great. And I'm sure this looked really cool. I mean, is it a cover? I mean, it must have been a cover, right? So it was a cover. So I'm sure that this piece looked really nice on the shelf too. So let's see here. Get my like on there. Now, yeah, here you go. This is Johnny's calf gallery too. And had I known it, I probably should have said no. But when I saw that you had picked it, I was just like, I like my piece too much not to show it too.
Yeah.
So I stuck with this one. I think again, it's back to composition, and I love the cityscape on this. I love the way he handles the figures here. There's just a very dynamic flow to his stuff, and it's it is kind of loose and sketchy feeling, and yet it's so tight at the same time. I really am enamored with this with his style.
Yeah, I could easily see him taking over Tank Girl. Like I said, mentioning Mafood, that this has even more, I think, a little bit of Jamie Hewlett back in it. Just cool. I just dig the style. It's not really like anybody else who's working right now. I mean, you could even say with all the ink and the thick kind of splat, you got a little bit of Sam Keith in there.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. So Johnny did really well picking up those two pieces. So Jorge Corona, I like on that one. Then I picked up Barry Windsor Smith Conan page, so it kind of goes with your Conan too. But this is Sal Buscema inks on this one, so it's from Conan 13. I mean, anything
that
from
grass.
Cool. Yeah, the grass. But nobody draws grass like Barry, right? At the end of the day, there's so many really classic images that involve grass. I don't know why. I mean, even he did an X-Men cover from Grant Morrison's run with Cyclops kind of coming out of the jungle, but the grass was drawn fantastic.
The hand across the forehead, like in a way that only he could do it without it, looking silly. It's just, I mean, he's a man.
Yeah, and Sal's inks aren't so bad. I mean, this is a really nice piece. And again, I don't even know who's calf gallery. Claudio Dubaldo. Okay.
It's funny. Sal's inks almost give a proto Mike Zeck, 10 years before the fact, in that bottom panel where there's the circular build out is very kind of Mike Zeck.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great piece. I feel like I haven't seen this out in the wild before, so it's cool to see. Huh. Crom. You got that right, Rick. Well, congrats on that one, Claudio. Then okay, this is probably the other Russ Heath you were talking about.
Yep.
But because I like this one a little bit more, only because
it's got a blam on it for one thing.
It does. But I love, each of these panels is just fantastic. They stand alone, as works of art by themselves, but it's just so well done. And night scenes are tough, right?
Yeah.
But he captures the lighting in here on this first panel, and they're all just, it's like, this is like, a moonlit scene, and you get the rain. I mean, this I want to own this page. It is just,
that might be a Liechtenstein blam. Like this may be one of the pieces that Roy stole from, because that blam looks awfully familiar.
Yeah, that's so true. But I saw this one, and I was like, oh man, I've been wanting a Russ Heath war page for so long. And to me, I like the other one a lot. This is the one that I would have went for if I had to choose between one or the other. So it's just great. So,
did you ever see Kirby Plunkett's Unknown Soldier when Garth Ennis did the miniseries?
I don't think so.
He did that. He did a real Russ Heath in kind of working out the origin of the Unknown Soldier, sort of like this, really like a Winter Soldier kind of character before the fact. Great series. It's actually my favorite thing that Garth Ennis wrote, except for the Dangerous Habits Hellblazer run. And was like right in the middle of like, wow, DC's doing really amazing stuff in Vertigo with these characters that have been around for a while. And you can just see Kirby worships Russ Heath, and most of the Unknown Soldier stuff you think of Kubert. So to bring that other kind of element into it, I thought was a really interesting way to go with it, and it just really worked. And look at his face in that top right, like that's, even if it was just that.
Yeah, that's why. Like I say, each one of these panels is just perfect. And this one was the one that sold me, though. I love the guys in the rain slickers and, you know, and nighttime. I mean, this is just, yeah, shoot. I would buy this page in a heartbeat. And I've just been, you know, I've been looking for so long to find a page that I'd want. I'd take this one if it was ever up for sale. I'd go for it. So let's see here. My last two pieces. I've got Matteo Scalera, and I think this was it was a commission piece, Black Science. So I mean, I just Scalera's work is just so cool. I love his brush work. This one is just. It's just got like every element in it that I like. I mean, it's a little sci-fi. I love it's as loose and just playing with kind of shapes here and negative space and the foliage. I mean, it all just works really well.
It's both familiar and alien, like the way that he's had that plant just kind of like disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I like this piece a lot.
It's almost Wrightson-esque, actually. You know, from the science fiction work at Warren.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, this is slick. I would like to get something from Scalera for sure. So and who? Let me see. What was this? Tangled Web Art. I always forget. I think I know who that person is. So they're from the Netherlands. A almost 4-year veteran of CAF. But yeah, look at that. I mean, that's just. I like it. All right, so last piece. This is by Wes Craig. I mean, I like pretty much everything Wes Craig does, but I just love all of the crazy shapes and things that he's throwing into this image, and the fact that, you know, there's a lot of tonal work in the water and everything. I just love the piece.
Kirby Miller did go.
Right, exactly. It's like, oh my God, it's kind of overkill, but I love it. I love it. I mean, Wes Craig does some really, really crazy thought out stuff, and this one just blows my mind. Kaya, I think I've picked a piece from Kaya before, haven't I? But this is in Reba Jacobs' CAF gallery. Just really, really cool stuff. I've never seen any of it in person, and I would assume it probably looks just as fantastic in person as it does here. So yeah. And Jacobs has a very nice CAF gallery, and from Australia. I didn't know that. Okay.
And in an era, because this is a modern book, in an era where there's the house style has sort of become everything, and like when I think now of like the super modern era, and I mean, at some point we have to draw a line and say it can't possibly still be the modern era. You know, we've been doing this since like 1990, but you know that. When you think of like 2010 to 2020, I always think of Humberto Ramos as kind of like the look of comics in that era. And I love the stuff, but it seemed like Marvel went after people who could do that Ramos look for a very long time. So to come across somebody that has like a really holistically unique style, like a Daniel Warren Johnson, or, you know, like a Wes Craig, or like Jorge Corona, it's just great that we can still do that, and we can still see it, and that the hobby has so many elements to it. I think the biggest thing, why we don't see a lot of it on CAF, a lot of these modern creators don't sell their work. So like a lot of people that are working on indie books are just keeping their pages, and so they don't really make it into collections. And coming at this as I have for so long through the fine art world, we'd always want to place a new artist's work in a collection where they had masterpieces, and then that elevates the worth of the new artist. And it's tough to do when people aren't letting their work out.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. That's an interesting way to look at it. But no, yeah. Well, here, let me hide this. So yeah, Wes is a great artist, but yeah, that's probably true. I mean, we've talked with a few artists who are definitely holding onto their work, but yeah, whatever you can get is always a good thing, though. But I think we're in a wonderful era of original art collecting. I think, you know, we're finding, you know, people like Klein or Daniel Warren Johnson who really think about every piece as a work of art. I mean, you know, that we want it to stand alone as like this finished piece. And I think that's great. I think it pushes other creators, like we were hearing Stelfreeze talk about earlier, when they see each other working. You know, that's why studios were such a good thing to have back in the day, right? When you get all these artists in a room and they kind of thrive off of each other's creativity, and you end up with something so much better. I mean, we have, we have the internet and people can do their Zoom calls. I mean, David and Eric said that that's what they do. Right. But yeah, I think we're in a really fun time, with creators really trying to push themselves.
And we have that internationally, right? Like we've got a couple of sort of artist studios in Barcelona. We've got them in Manila. There's places internationally, certainly in Brazil, where you've got a lot of people working in the same way that you used to see out in Santa Monica. When Jim Lee had Top Cow, and there was like all these guys working in this one room. There is an ability for that to happen, I think, internationally in a way that we just, for whatever reason, can't do in the United States. I mean, we're a huge country, so there's that. But that brings a kind of nice nostalgia to the old bullpen aspect of Marvel, but without Gil Kane stealing everybody else's pages.
Yes, exactly. Well, he wasn't the only one though. So
that's true. Apparently, Jim Shooter took a few, and certainly Stan was giving them to whoever came in and showed up.
Yeah.
But
it is.
I mean, it's a shame too that, like you say, we're at a good time, but there's also like a few of my favorite artists don't really do traditional work at all. Like, Redondo, who I have a ton of work of, most of that stuff is, AP 101. And I was able to, because I was such a deep collector of his work, get him to do an amazing commission that's a traditional commission. But that's like, there's not a whole bunch of those in existence anymore. And I mean, this has been happening for, obviously, Fiona Staples doesn't do, traditional work. It's all digital. So part of me is like, oh, I'm still clinging on to this, as we all do, as all of us who collect, that, well, at least do a blue line and have somebody ink it, and then there's something. But the versatility for artists to be able to do what they do and to be able to live and eat, which has become more and more tough working for the superhero comics at the major publishers, that you're kind of emboldened to set up your own deal. And I think that if we're going to continue with comics the way that we've understood them, we're going to have to really beg writers and artists whose work we love to keep a toe at Marvel or DC, so that big books bring people into comic shops. And so those creator-owned titles don't bring people to comic shops. They get them mailed. They do their Kickstart and they do that, and that's what keeps them fed. But as a lot of the guys, Ed Brubaker was an early guy to say, you do 1 or 2 books for Marvel, you do 5 books for yourself, and you keep kind of go back and forth and do that, and it keeps you vital, but it also keeps the doors of the comic shops open, which is what's going to keep our hobby alive.
That is very, very, very true. No, I can't agree with you more on that, Matt. All right. Well, I hate to call it a night, but I got some packing to do, and my flight's at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So I've got like 9 hours before I'm going to be on a plane, and I haven't done any packing yet. Although I actually mailed some clothes up to Ohio, so I didn't have to pack as much. I did that like a month ago, knowing I was going.
That's smart.
Yes, but I appreciate you stepping in at the last minute, because I wasn't able to ask Matt to do this until Monday, and he jumped in and you did a great job, Matt. I appreciate it.
Thanks. And Chris Nork, impossible shoes to fill. So thanks for thinking of me.
Not a problem. I mean, well, I told you, like, it feels like 6 or 8 months ago, where I was like, Matt, we got to be on cameras more often, and we haven't been able to, because then I started doing OAX, and everything's been off the rails since then. But I always enjoy having you on the channel, Matt. I really do. And hopefully, we won't be strangers, and I will definitely let you know when I'm heading out to Vegas. It may be late in 2024, but I am going. I'm not going to miss going out there in the next 12 months.
And I have 2 sisters in Orlando, so the odds say that I'll see you on your home turf at some point.
If you come out this way, you got to let me know.
Absolutely.
Get together.
Yep, I promise not to drive a rent-a-car into the water.
Only a Ranga can do that. Oh man! But all right, man. Well, listen. Have a wonderful night, and again, thank you for stepping in last minute. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I'm calling it a night. I hope everybody has a fantastic holiday. You won't see me again. I actually don't plan to do a show on Tuesday next week. So I think really the next show we'll do is the Dueling Dealers episode where I'll be at Mike's house, you know, so that'll be kind of fun and different, getting to hang out. But I hope everybody has a great holiday. You know, if you're traveling, be safe. And you know, if you're at home tomorrow night, tune into Nick Barucci and watch his show. He's got some good stuff for sale. But you know, I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday, and I'll see you again on Wednesday evening if you're available. I can tell you we're going to do a Christmas caroling song. So just for all of you, we one special meme for everybody. But for those of you who can't make it, we'll post it so you can watch it yourselves after it's all over. But have a wonderful night, and I'll see you again in a week. So take care.